Alright, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got a story time for y'all that was sent in by a subscriber about how his grandma ended up, destroying all of his video games after watching a documentary about them being evil. Yeah, that's right. Pretty unfortunate luck. It should be a pretty good story time, though. Before we get into it, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. Your grandma will destroy all of your video games. And without further ado, let's get into it. So this guy we're gonna name Kyle for the purpose of the story because, you know, that's his name, had a grandma on his mom's side of the family that he didn't really see too much. You know, she was pretty nuts and, really strict, to the point where his mom had a rule with him that, any time he spent time with her, he didn't have to really remember any of the rules she suggested because it was just too over the top. She was the type of lady to get mad at you chewing with your mouth closed if you didn't do it at the right degree of an angle, you know? The type of lady to get mad at you for vacuuming too loudly and you're like, I don't know how else to do this. She was just pretty similar to a drill sergeant. And one weekend, unfortunately, there was a family emergency and his mom and dad had to go help his other grandparents with something that the kid couldn't be there for. And it happened really unexpectedly, and out of desperation, his mom was like, all right, you're gonna have to stay with your other grandma. She's gonna come babysit you for a few days and everything's gonna be okay. And obviously, this doesn't make him super confident. She's known for being mean. She's known for being over the top. But, you know, what are you gonna do? His family has an emergency. He's not gonna be selfish and make his parents not go help his other grandparents. So he's just kind of gotta suck it up and deal with the fact that his crazy grandma's gonna be watching him. Anyways, she ends up coming over, they mingle a bit, his parents leave, and the first few hours after that are pretty uneventful. She just kind of sits on the couch and starts watching TV and tells him to keep it down and be quiet. So thinking that's his cue to skedaddle and just do anything to stay out of her hair, he goes into his room and starts playing video games, which is just kind of what you do, you know? I don't know, that seems pretty normal to me. Especially when they tell you to keep it down, that's a pretty quiet thing to do. And I understand that old people aren't the most well-versed people when it comes to technology, and they can get kind of intimidated by video games, right? But this kid was not playing a game that had anything bad in it or should be intimidating to anybody. He was playing Super Mario Sunshine on his Wii. I don't know if any of y'all have ever played Super Mario Sunshine, but, you know, it's about as chill as it possibly gets. There's really nothing bad in it. And he's been playing for a few hours, and he hears his door open, and he looks, and he sees his grandma stick her head in and asks what he's doing. But it's not oh, what are you doing? You know, it's what are you doing? It's very interrogatory. I don't know what the word would be there. She might as well have just taken him into an interrogation room and gotten a good cop, bad cop thing going on. And he replies and says he's just playing games because that's really all he's doing. There's nothing crazy going on. He's literally just sitting there playing. Well, she comes over and just starts pressing him about gaming. You know, she's asking him why this game that he's playing is so violent. Which it wasn't, dude. He was literally playing Super Mario Sunshine. That game just is not violent, you know? And he's kind of confused and oh, this isn't really that violent of a game, you know? And she's not having any of it, dude. She keeps pressing him and she starts asking really weird questions, if he hears voices in his head after playing, or if the characters are telling him to do bad things when he's done gaming. And I don't know if the only interaction she ever had with video games was a horror movie where a kid gets told what to do by Crash Bandicoot and is just all right, whatever, I'm gonna get rid of my family. But that's just not what actually happens, bro. Not once have I ever hopped off a game and been I love when Spyro the Dragon tells me to commit arson. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. If you get off a video game and you start hearing voices telling you to do bad things, you need medical attention. And you know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you might just want to stop playing video games because I don't know if they're for you. Even then though, let's say hypothetically he was, what would Mario be telling this kid to do that's that bad? If you were gonna be hearing the voice of any video game in your head, Mario's probably a good one. He'd just be encouraging you to become Italian and go to plumbing school, you know? Those would be the two things he's telling you to do. Regardless, she just keeps pressing him about it, and every question is just more and more negative, you know? And after this little Q&A session, the meet and greet was over, she just grabs the bin of games off his desk and just dumps them on the floor to start going through them. Now, this kid is 12 at the time, and he had actually just gotten Halo for his Xbox, and on the ground in all of these games is the Halo case. And his grandma sees the guy on the cover and sees a gun and obviously is just oh my gosh, are you serious? These are the type of games you play? And while holding the Halo game, starts talking about how, he's obviously getting involved in a life of crime out on the streets if he's playing violent video games. And stuff like this is gonna lead him into the territory of joining gangs. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently Halo is just like the most violent game in the world, bro. It's a terrible influence. Every guy that joins a gang got his idea from Master Chief. I don't know what Halo she was playing. Like, I've played all of them, and not once did I ever hear Master Chief be like, join a gang, kids, it's lit. Anyways, as he defends the game, and she gets all pissed off and just storms out saying that she's gonna do more research, but he better not be playing these violent games when she comes back up here. And when she leaves, she slams the door, and the kid is just sitting there really confused because all of these games were games that, like, his parents were cool with him having. And once again, his grandma was like saying that the games were doing things that just made no sense and they weren't doing. He's like, I'm not hearing voices from Mario. I don't know what she's talking about. And believe it or not, he wasn't playing Halo and like, I need to join a gang. That just like wasn't going on. So he's insanely confused, but decides at that point, he probably shouldn't keep playing his games because she's gonna freak out. So he sees all his games on the floor, he picks them up, organizes them again, and then goes downstairs to try to avoid making his grandma more upset. But when he gets downstairs, it becomes even more confusing because, like, she's just acting normal. She's not acting mad. She's not acting like anything's wrong. She's not freaking out. It was just like she had a sudden mood change. And he's kind of like, all right, she's old. Maybe she forgot to go do research. Maybe she forgot about the games. He's just not going to press it. Maybe she, like, tried to go to the encyclopedia and look up Halo, but the only thing that kept coming up was, like, about angels, She didn't know how to use Google or something. Either way, she just kind of drops it, and he's not going to press it. So he spends the rest of the night kind of watching TV, and she ends up falling asleep on the couch pretty early. So he goes upstairs, plays a little bit more video games, and falls asleep. The next day, though, was a school day, and Kyle obviously has to leave his grandma home alone for a bit. She's retired and go to school. And at school, nothing really crazy happens, but him and his friends are talking, and they decide that they're going to play some games later that day when they get home, which, is pretty normal for a dude to do. You'd go home, play games with the boys, whatever. But when he gets home, he goes upstairs, and when he opens his door, he's really confused because none of his gaming stuff is there. Like, his entire desk is cleared off, there's nothing, there's no games, it's literally all gone. So obviously he's really confused and doesn't know what's going on, and he goes downstairs to try to figure out what happened to his stuff. And he walks up to his grandma and he's like, Grandma, do you know what happened to all my gaming stuff? And when he says that, she just gets this smile on her face, bro. And it's not like a good smile. It's a smile of somebody who's about to commit some mischief, bro. Like, the smile that you get when, you tell somebody like, oh, I got Ligma or Sugma or something, and they go, what's that? And you just know you're about to just dunk on them. That was the smile. And she gets up and with an eerie smile is like, sit down, and he sits down. And she's smiling and is like, I have something that I need you to watch. I think it's going to change the way you look at stuff. You just have to give it a chance. And she turns on the TV. And on the TV is this documentary, which I'm using air quotes you can't see, because it looks like this documentary had the budget of like a middle school AV club. The camera is just a home camcorder. They're literally sitting in somebody's living room, but it's two old people, a man and a woman, and they just start talking about how video games are being used to brainwash the youth of America and, turning them into Satanists, just like all this crazy stuff, dude. I don't feel that brainwashed, whatever. Maybe that's just me. But then the really confusing part starts happening. They start showing clips of kids like in an arcade. The 80s and 90s when you didn't really have like gaming at home. You used to have to go to an arcade. And they start showing clips of kids in arcade and start talking about how, these arcades are dangerous places where kids hang out and do bad things like play video games and, they talk to the opposite gender. Like that was literally one of the things that they hated. Obviously, it's a very, very old documentary. It's made in like the 80s, and they were even old then. Regardless, for the next like half hour, he's just sitting there watching this documentary, hearing these people explain like how evil video games are and how evil they make kids. But, they're not even video games that he plays. Like, they're talking about being in an arcade, in the environment of an arcade and arcade games. Okay, yeah, I guess, maybe. I don't know. I've never really gone to an arcade and played that much, dude. Like, when this documentary was made, Pac-Man was the newest AAA title, dude. Donkey Kong was impressive. And he's obviously confused, but his grandma the entire time is smiling and acting like it just makes all the sense in the world. And as I said, he doesn't really know why he's watching it, but he just has a sinking suspicion that whatever reason she's making him watch it has to do with where his video games are, and he doesn't know where they are still. So after it finishes, his grandma like takes out the VHS tape and is like, "What did you think?" And he doesn't say anything because he doesn't really know what to think about it. And she's like, "All right, well, follow me. I have to show you something." And so they go out and they go into the garage, and all of his gaming stuff, every console, every game, is just in this pile in the middle of the garage, like really close together, like stacked up on top of each other. And he doesn't really know what to make of it. And his grandma starts giving him this speech, which is basically like an evil villain monologue at this point, saying that, she has to do this to prove once and for all that the evil games are corrupting society, and these things need to be banned for the health of society and the country. Just going on and on about from the documentary how evil video games were turning kids. Like, just going off, man. None of it really makes sense. And while she's doing this, Kyle starts to smell this smell. He doesn't really know what it is, but it's really strong in the garage. It smells kind of chemically, but he can't put his finger on it. But as his grandma is finishing her speech, she pulls out a lighter, and that's when it clicks what it was. It's gasoline. Apparently, his grandma, while he was at school, had watched this documentary, decided that video games were evil, and, no one should be allowed to play them ever. They're the worst thing to ever exist, and we need to get rid of them. And then had gone into her grandson's room, gotten all of his gaming stuff, brought it to the garage, piled it up, and just dumped gasoline on it. So at this point, his grandma has coated all his stuff in gas and is about to set it on fire. And Kyle is like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" But when he starts screaming, his grandma just like touches the lighter to the edge and backs up. And as soon as that happens, everything just bursts up into flames. If you've ever lit a fire with like gas on it, you know what I mean. It pops up pretty quickly. It just kind of like bursts up into an inferno. And obviously where everything was is now just flames. So he's freaking out, screaming at his grandma. And his grandma, instead of like realizing that, maybe lighting everything on fire wasn't a good idea or anything, is just laughing maniacally like a pyromaniac who's just super excited about the fire they just started. The kid is just seeing this going on and like is obviously crying because his grandma's laughing at destroying the stuff that he loves. But then he notices that the flames from the gaming stuff that's piled up is like getting near the roof of the garage. And so now it's beyond just his like gaming stuff getting burned. The house is going to burn down. So he runs into the kitchen and grabs a fire extinguisher, darts back out, and just starts covering everything he can in the fire extinguisher. And everything is now covered in fire extinguisher, but the parts that he moves away, like, it's pretty obvious that all of the gaming equipment is done. There's melted plastic, there's like holes in the discs. It's not a good situation. Everything is fried. And when his grandma realizes that he put out the fire, she starts asking him, like, "Why did you do that? Why did you put out the fire? I set that on purpose. You're being disrespectful by putting that out." And obviously, it's proof that the games need to get banned because, if he wouldn't be playing video games, he wouldn't be disrespecting his grandma. And he's like, at that point, about to just lose it. So to prevent himself from like just swinging, he goes upstairs and slams the door, locks it, and is like, "Leave me alone. I need space." And he goes over and he picks up this phone that his mom had given him, and he calls his mom and he's like, "Mom, I love you. This is what happened. I'm okay, but this is a disaster." He's just pissed. And his mom is like, "All right, well, we're coming home today, so can you just wait a couple hours, just wait a bit." And so he hangs up the phone with his mom, and when that happens, his grandma is like pounding on the door, telling him to come out, "We need to talk, we have to talk about this, we have to have a talk." And he's like, "I do not want to talk to you, there's nothing to discuss." Which is fair. There really is not much to talk about when you just destroyed this stuff that means the world to him, like there really isn't much to talk about. You just watch this lady burn everything you like, chances are you don't want to talk to her. So, he's just sitting there, his grandma's begging him to come out, and finally he hears his mom pull in, and his mom and dad come in, and his grandma starts being like, "Your son is da-da-da-da-da, being crazy, disrespectful, all this stuff," and he comes out and is like, "Grandma lit my games on fire." And the mom looks very confused, like, "Okay, I thought you were maybe exaggerating a bit," and he takes her to the garage and just shows her the pile of rubble where all of his gaming stuff was. And his grandma is like, yeah, I did it. You know, your son was evil. You need to make sure that my grandson grows up right. I refuse to apologize for it. And his mom is just kind of letting her mom talk, looking at this pile of stuff. And then finally, she just looks at her mom and is like, get out of my house. And her mom is like, get out. Why? Why do I need to leave? Like, I was just doing the right thing. And his mom starts going off about how that's like $3,000 of gaming stuff that they had bought for their son. And even if she thought it was evil, does she have any idea how much money it was all worth? And, you know, it's not her son. It's not up to her to decide like what he does and doesn't do. And if she feels like her son can play video games, then that's all that matters. And you would think the grandma at that point might maybe realize that like, I might be a little bit in the wrong, but you would be mistaken. The grandma really felt like what she did was justified because, like, she really felt like her grandson was just on a path towards destruction, which I don't really know that that's what gaming is. I mean, definitely not going outside as much. I'll have to give her that, but I really, really don't understand why old people think video games are so evil. I mean, sure, a lot of the themes are weird, but, like, I don't know. I feel like they've been out long enough for us to know if they were making people go nuts. World of Warcraft's almost 20 years old. If being exposed to warlocks made people go crazy, everybody in that game would be nuts. Anyways, the argument between the mom and grandma ensued, with the mom repeatedly saying, even if you felt that way, like, you just burned so much expensive stuff that didn't belong to you. And the grandma just keeps doubling down, saying that, like, she did it for a good cause and she'd do it again. And that's when, finally, the mom, who had been telling her to get out this time, is like, you need to leave or I'm calling the cops. And the mom is like, you wouldn't dare call the cops on me. Do you have any idea how disrespectful it would be to call the cops on your own mother? And then the daughter just says, do you have any idea how disrespectful it would be to burn $1,000 of stuff that you don't own? Pretty disrespectful. And I think at that point, the grandma kind of realized that even though she thought she was in the right, it didn't matter because legally she was in the wrong. So she decides to skedaddle, but before she leaves, she of course has to be like, you're the reason that my daughter and I hate each other because you just won't give up your horrible ways, talking about her grandson playing video games. Yeah, all of this is the grandkid's fault. It's not you being crazy. It's not you overstepping and like lighting stuff on fire. It's the fact that he likes video games that makes your daughter not want to hang out with you. I mean, even before all this went down, bro, he still wasn't really down to be chilling with you. Now, I really don't think that's the case. So, whatever, they ended up kind of going their separate directions for a bit. But what's wildest about all of this is, like, from that point on, for whatever reason, the grandma had just decided to just hate this grandkid. Like, she would constantly post these things on Facebook for each grandkid's birthday about how proud she was of them. And when it was his birthday, she literally posted something wishing that, like, he eventually escapes the evil clutches of video games. To this day, dude, this old lady still thinks she's right, which is wild to me. You'd think at some point you would get, like, some reality cooked into you that it's not cool to light other people's stuff on fire. But hey, I guess for some people that just never comes, you know, probably a little bit easier to live life without any guilt for anything. I will say, definitely making me appreciate my grandmothers more than I already do. But I think the worst part of this is that his grandma also got, like, his family uninvited to all the Christmas events because, you know, she's the grandma. So she just went and told all of his aunts and uncles and everybody that, like, he had, you know, basically, like, tried to attack her while playing video games. So they're all on the grandma's side because she just capped about it so hard. They can't come to Christmas because, as you know, those evil video games be corrupting everything. They ruined our family. Do you think she just blames Halo, bro? Like, Master Chief is the most hated person at every family event because they think that he's the reason this family went nuts? Not worth it, dude. Anyways, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you guys just taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought, and subscribe if you're new. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment what you would do if somebody burned all your gaming stuff down. Would you cry? Would you yell? Like, I don't know. Other than that, if you really, really want to support the channel, if you drink G Fuel, the best energy drink for gamers, by gamers, you can use code SCRUBBY at the checkout to get yourself a little bit of a discount. Pretty fantastic if you ask me, considering how dope G Fuel is. Other than that, on screen now is actually the coolest merch to ever exist in the history of the planet, and if you go in the description, you can get some as well. Pretty fantastic if you ask me, even though I'm a little bit biased. Other than that, I do have a podcast as well, known as the Scuffedcast. You can find a link to that in the description too. And yeah, on that note, guys, I think that's everything that I actually got to plug. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a pretty crazy story time for y'all that was sent in by a subscriber that basically had this group of mom at his schools end up protesting video games. I don't really know what's up in the world where this kid goes to school. I don't know what Karens think that protesting Halo is going to get it banned, but hey, it's pretty entertaining to talk about nonetheless. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today, and without further ado, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. Your mom is going to get video games banned at your school too, and trust me, nobody likes the guy who got video games banned. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so I think we've all been in a situation where a game gets crazy popular at your school pretty quickly, and the person who sent this in, their name is Jeremy, and when they were in middle school, Halo 3 was the game that, like, took the game by storm. Or the school by storm, I mean. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Basically, everybody and their mom was talking about Halo in between classes, during classes, at lunch, you know, you name it. People were trying to figure out, like, what you could do on this map. You could find a hidden skull on this part of the map in this campaign mission. Like, they were just always talking about Halo. And truthfully, Jeremy looks back on this as a pretty nostalgic, fun time where, like, most people were having fun and having a good time. You would think that when a game starts to get really popular, it's fun. I remember when Fortnite was in its prime, Call of Duty, all those games, they're a blast when everybody's enjoying it. And, you know, along with everybody being obsessed with this game, obviously from time to time it would distract a student during class, it would come up during class and kind of get everybody off topic. And look, that's gonna happen when a lot of people are talking about something. Obviously, some kids are gonna not be paying attention to, like, what's going on in class. It's not like it's Halo's fault kids aren't paying attention, okay? I think basically the wind blowing could distract me from a class back in the day. Like, it wasn't hard to. But anyways, some of the kids that were in these classes, I guess, were just annoyed with these distractions, you know? They thought that it was just so unfair that Halo was distracting students. You know, the type of kids that, like, whine about tag being too rough or just complain about everything. Like, if you don't want to talk about Halo, then just don't talk about Halo. You know what I mean? Like, if you think it's annoying and stupid, then you're more than welcome to not join any of the conversations people are having about it. You don't need to go complain to your teachers and whine about the fact that, like, people around you are talking about something you don't like. That's life, dude. Do you think one day at work your coworkers are just never gonna talk about something you're not a fan of? Anyways, these kids, I guess, literally had a reputation for sucking, so nobody was surprised when they started, like, whining to their parents about it. The fact that it had gotten popular at school, and, you know, the fact that kids were talking about it all the time. They literally were known as the fun killers. It was like this group of guys who were the sons of Karen, and instead of being like, afraid or embarrassed of their Karen mom, they embraced it.
Ah, yes, I am the son of a Karen. Fear me, I will ban your video games.
And, you know, their parents also, because they were the people that raised the fun killers, were also known for just generally sucking, not letting anyone have fun. Like, one of the moms had a reputation for ruining a field day because she said that kids were laughing too loud and it was distracting to the competitors. Like, oh, people were having fun on the day where they're supposed to have fun? Who would have ever seen that coming? Anyways, the moms hear from their kids that kids are talking about this video game at school, and not just any video game, a violent video game, and it's distracting them from their studies. So they decide that they could not possibly allow anybody else to enjoy Halo, right? You know, no. And Master Chief's the embodiment of Satan. If kids keep playing Halo, the world's gonna end. We have to put a stop to this now. I'm assuming that's what their meeting went like. But, you know, obviously, this was only a group, the original group of like 3 or 4 moms, and they knew that if they were going to try to get this banned from the entire school, that wasn't going to be enough. Like, they were pissed about it, but not enough other people were. So they start going around and calling all of the moms at the school, letting them know that the game was bad and violent, and they shouldn't let their kids play it, and, you know, it was going too far if they were talking about it in class. And most of the moms ended up hanging up on them pretty quickly. Like, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what my kid is allowed to and not allowed to do. And no, I'm not going to come protest at the school for them to ban a video game. Most moms would do that, but somehow these moms are so convincing that they end up with a small little army of like 25 people to go protest in front of the school. Which honestly isn't too bad when you're a bunch of angry moms going to protest a video game. Like, the fact that you got 25 people to care enough to show up is a little bit impressive. I can barely get people to show up to anything else on time, and this lady's out here like organizing a protest of Master Chief, bro. Anyways, this group of 25 moms decide that they're going to protest Halo at the school. You know, the fact that it's being spoken about. I don't really know, like, what they expected, dude. I don't think it's the school's responsibility to tell me what I am and not allowed to play outside of school. I'm not in school anymore, but I promise you that if at any point the school was like, you can't play this game, I would not have cared that they said it. I would have just kept doing it anyways. These moms decide to protest, you know, to save the kids, and their ultimate goal, as I said, was to get the school to ban it. And, like, you know, I really don't think that was even possible if the moms would have been able to achieve their goal, but that's what they set their minds to. And they start planning that the best way to do this is to protest the school with, like, picketing, you know, like literally make signs, stand out front, yell at people going into the school that it's a terrible school, like that type of stuff. And so they're starting to organize this protest, and when they're organizing it, they're like, we need a nickname for ourselves. We need something that we can call ourselves by, you know, this little group. And they end up going with Mothers Against Gaming because they thought that the acronym MAG was like really good. You know, Mothers Against Gaming. And listen, dude, all I'm saying is that that's a terrible nickname. Like, that's just a terrible acronym. Horrible, horrible acronym. And even then, Moms Against Gaming? Do you, like, not do any PR research? If you're anti-video games, I understand that you're automatically just kind of wrong. You don't really understand it. But I would at least assume that you guys would know that that's a very unpopular name for your organization. Like, you would think they would go with, you know, Moms Against the Unethical Addiction to Esports Substances, or like something like that. Moms Against Gaming makes you instantly the bad guy of every kid that hears that you exist. But whatever, I guess they're gonna go with that acronym for some reason. And the next day, Jeremy comes into school, and sure enough, when he gets off the bus, there's like a group of soccer moms standing outside of the school with signs, like literal picketing signs that say various things about Halo. One of them is like, the only Halo I want my son to learn about is the one that's on top of an angel, you know, like another one is Master Chief, like my son won't be calling anyone master, like that type of stuff on these signs. And they're just kind of walking, yelling something about how Halo sucks. I'm sorry, there's construction outside. It's been going all day. I can't do anything about it. All of these anti-Halo signs, and these moms are just like committed to spending all day just marching back and forth in front of the school to get it banned. They're literally picketing outside the school for them to ban a video game they have no control over. Like, even imagine for a second, all right, let's pretend that the school wanted to also ban Halo. Like, for some reason, the principal was an evil guy. I don't think the principal can go out and tell you to sell your video games and not play it anymore. Like, that's not the principal's job. And sure enough, bro, these moms were really committed because they don't leave all day. Literally all day. They're standing in front of the school, yelling about Halo with their signs, walking back and forth. And they're doing like laps of the school so the kids can kind of see them in their classes walking by. And I don't know if the moms had thought about the fact that like they were going to be running around screaming about Halo, the thing they were trying to get people to stop talking about. But obviously, that did not go the exact way that they had planned it to, because kids were now not only still talking about Halo, because every hour they were getting a reminder of it when they would see the like mom circle the school, but on top of that, they're now making fun of the moms for hating on Halo. Like, now it's a double-edged sword where they're talking about Halo, the mom's talking about Halo, which is making more people talk about it. So now every kid, even the ones that haven't played it before, are like, wait, what's in this game that's so bad? Why do they want to ban it? Like, it was basically as if they had made the ultimate commercial to get kids hooked on this game from before. I don't know about y'all, but if I saw somebody, like a group of people protesting a video game, I would want to know, like, okay, what is so bad about this video game? And then imagine you're a kid in middle school and they start telling you that, like, oh, it's a space superhero with super cool futuristic weapons and he fights aliens. Tell me you don't want to go play that video game now. So the Moms Against Gaming actually were probably like a sleeper cell for Microsoft to market Halo a little bit better, but, you know, it obviously ends up backfiring. And on top of just talking about Halo more, a lot of the school started making fun of the kid who had called his mom and started all this, and they were making fun of the moms. So, like, that started a bunch of drama, too, because the kids tried to, you know, tell them that they shouldn't make a mockery of people that are using their rights to protest. And obviously they were like, bro, shut up. Go tell your mom to go protest some more stuff. Like, what is wrong with you? Obviously, bullying is never okay. Don't relentlessly go after somebody. But yeah, if you tell your mom to come wait outside of the school to try to ban something that most of the school likes, the school is going to make fun of you, bro. Like, I don't know what you expected. And they're especially gonna roast your mom. That's the worst part, man. Like, listen, kids get roasted, it happens. It had to have been hard to sit there and listen to everybody in the school just flame your mom. Especially because what are you gonna say to defend her, bro? Like, oh, no, my mom's not that crazy. Really? So she just has nothing to do all day and spends it protesting video games that don't know she exists outside of a middle school and she's not crazy? Like, that's just a ginormous L. But no matter how much they were made fun of or like how little people listened, the moms would not give up. Like, they just kept protesting. Every day, sure enough, he would show up and there would be people there with their signs. The only thing that was like a sign that it wasn't working very well is that every day when they would show up to school, the group would have shrunk just a little bit. Like more and more people were falling off like flies because A, they probably realized that they were crazy, or B, their kid had come home and been like, Mom, can you please stop being a part of the brigade of people that's trying to ban everything kids like at school? They're really making fun of me. But yeah, most of them ended up standing down, but there was like a super die-hard group of the 10 mom, the fun killer parents that were just like, we are not giving up until Halo is banned. And they were outside protesting for probably a month and a half every school day, just day in and day out, until finally one day the principal decided to like give them a meeting just to see what they wanted. These people were clearly not going to leave the school alone until he at least heard them out. And I think at that point they had shown that they were like committed enough that they weren't just goofing off on the cause. So he decides to have a meeting with the principal, and no kids were allowed at the meeting. And nobody really knows what happened, but apparently enough was said in the meeting for the principal to agree that Halo could have some negative consequences on people, which, if you're an adult who doesn't understand video games, they tell you it's violent, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I understand that might be violent, but, he tells the moms he can't ban it. They don't ban Halo because that's just not something the school would be allowed to do, bro. Imagine that PSA. All right, everyone, we, the school that you guys already don't listen to when you're here sometimes, order you to go home and snap your disc, your $60 disc that you bought of Halo, because we told you to. Like, that was just never gonna work. So the conclusion that they come to instead is that the moms are allowed to make a PSA that's going to play on the school news in front of all of the students to let them know about the dangers of video games. And I think the moms probably took that as a ginormous victory, like, yes, we're going to spread the message of being anti-video game. The only problem is, dude, I didn't pay attention to anything that they would play on school television, and I especially was not going to listen to a bunch of, like, soccer moms tell me to quit playing video games when I was in middle school, In their head, it was going to make a big difference, but let's be honest, I don't think any PSA that an adult has ever done for kids has made a big difference. I'm sure in their mind, bro, that they, like, really thought it was going to work. In fact, the only thing that we know about, like, how well they thought it was going to work is the fact that the fun killer kids were, like, going around telling everybody that, pretty soon they weren't going to want to play Halo anyways. Like, there was no way that they were going to want to play Halo. And everybody had been kind of blowing them off because, like, well, I mean, if your mom's protest hasn't been working, I don't know what's going to magically change now. But sure enough, one day, everybody comes into class and they get told that they're going to be watching something on the TV. And this is a long time ago, so it's like the TV with the VCR where they wheel it in, like, and it's going to be a good day. And usually this is a good sign, but, they turn on the VCR and it starts playing. And it's like a decently well-made PSA, he'll give them that, but it's just absolute nonsense. Like, it was as if somebody had Googled, why your kids shouldn't play Halo, found the worst, least reputable, most nonsense articles, and just put them all into one PSA. The moms are saying facts that, like, if you play Halo, you're 87% more likely to commit a car robbery, which I don't believe is a real fact, bro. Like, I just don't think that's true. And also, it's just a very funny fact, dude. Like, okay, how are these things linked? How is me playing a video game gonna make me go out and steal a car? And listen, I, like, obviously am making fun of what they hate Halo for, but there's really some things that I could see parents not liking about that game that are, like, relatively logical. It is a pretty violent game. I can get why some parents might not want their kids playing that. It does, and, like, it does have some weird stuff with, like, the flood and their priests and whatnot. I guess I don't really get it, but, like, whatever. I guess that's more of an argument. But the stuff that the moms were going with were just crazy. Like, Halo does not make me more likely to rob a car. What in the world are you talking about? You had the answer in your hands. You could have just been like, a lot of violence probably isn't good for young kids. There's not really an argument people can have against you, but like going with the Grand Theft Auto thing ain't gonna work. And on top of that, some of the other facts that they said about, why Halo was dangerous is that, like, it was increasing dropout rates across the nation, which, yeah, dropout rates were going up at the same time, maybe. But how do you know that that's exactly Halo? Like, I don't feel like there was any scientific studies out there that were like, the decline of education in America and how Halo 3 impacted the social hierarchies, netting America's smarts. Like, that just was never a book that was written. I don't feel like data actually exists on how Halo affects people's dropout rates. And even then, I feel like everybody's played it at least once. If you were alive at that time, you've played it before. So, like, is everyone gonna drop out? What about the people that have already played it? Is it just too late? If I've already been playing Halo for 8 hours a day, and now you tell me that it drives me crazy and makes me violent, can I save myself? Or, like, might as well just keep playing because it's too late now? Regardless, everyone's making fun of them, roasting the mom, making fun of the parents, literally laughing at this PSA. And some of the no fun kids start like getting defensive, saying that, their parents worked hard on this project and they should at least respect it till it's over. And all the kids in the class start being like, screw your parents, bro. We don't care. We don't owe them any respect. None of us care about this. I don't care how hard they worked on it. And at that point, they start going back and forth, kind of arguing about it, And the teacher ended up turning it off in Jeremy's class early. Most of the class probably, or most of the school probably ended up watching the PSA all the way through, but like because of the argument in their class, it got turned off early. So it was just what they had seen, So after school, the way that this middle school released is like these people would have to walk across this big field to where all the cars and the buses were. And sure enough, when the doors open for everybody to start crossing the field, the moms are standing there, like all the moms that had been protesting, and they have their signs, and they are like standing there expecting people to kind of greet them as heroes, I guess. I don't really know what they were expecting, but they had almost come to be like, yeah, that's right, we're the people that made that PSA, and we just saved you from Halo, so this is us, like they were trying to be heroic or something. And obviously all the kids walking out there just kind of made fun of them, were like saying quotes from their PSA that they thought were corny back at them, saying like, oh, you really showed me I'm never gonna play Halo. Really? No, I'm gonna go play it right now. Just kind of trolling them. Which, listen, I'm not saying it's nice to troll parents, but like, dude, if you play a PSA and then you stand outside of the school, kids are gonna make fun of you, bro. Like, I'm not saying it's right, but there's a certain point of just human nature is going to be human nature, and middle school kids make fun of things. It just is what it is. So, yeah, I will say that seemed to kind of embarrass them quite a bit. They were getting pretty red. They thought they were going to be heroes, and after that, the protest group stopped showing up. Jeremy doesn't know if that was like part of their agreement with the principal, if I play this stupid PSA to the students, you guys have to stop showing up, or if it was just the embarrassment of the PSA not working, but they really never did come to the school again after that. Maybe the no fun kids finally were like, all right, we gotta have a little bit of fun allowed, all right, mom? So we need you to take 15 steps back. See, what I don't understand is, like, I'm assuming some of them had to have been stay-at-home moms, because otherwise, how do you have so much time to do this? Like, you have enough free time to literally go to your kid's school every day just to protest an Xbox game? Like, huh? They better have been stay-at-home moms. Otherwise, I'm really confused on what they told their boss, dude. Like, the boss was also a very avid Halo hater, just despised the idea of anyone playing an M-rated video game. You're protesting Halo? Forget your job. We don't need you to be an accountant. We need you to get out there and prevent these children from liking Master Chief. That's way more important than any job you could have had here. Like, dang, every day? I don't think I really, hate any video game enough to protest, especially that long. That's just a lot of work that goes into that. But, yeah, anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought, and, of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on those notifications. It really helps out the channel, and I would appreciate it. If you enjoyed the intro song from a little bit ago, a link to that can be found in the description, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. And if you take a look on your screen now, the coolest merch to ever exist is also down in that subscription box, or description, not subscription. You should subscribe. You guys know what I'm trying to say. as well. And yeah, last but certainly not least, if you use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout, it gives you a discount. Helps me out, helps you out. Literally everybody is a winner. And yeah, on that note, guys, I think that'll do it for the video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a subscriber story that was sent in to me about this dude's older cousin. It's a pretty good story time. I don't know why old people hate video games so much, but I guess for whatever reason, they're really hell-bent on claiming that they're the reason for everyone's problems. Just another thing that we don't have in common with the boomers, and yeah, before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever, your parents will ban you from ever touching video games ever again, and that would suck, so press the like button, and without further ado, let's get into it. I'm getting quiet now, laying low when you reach zone, piping down, making out, stack the bread. Anyways, guys, the person that sent in this story is going to be named Manny because that's their name, and Manny is about 16 years old, and he's a pretty big gamer himself. He's not like a G Fuel snorting maniac like some of us are, but he basically plays games every day, at least for a little bit. And one day, he comes home from school, and he's just playing video games in his room, hanging out as you usually do, and his mom comes into his room and lets him know that that night his family was going to be coming over to hang out for a bit. And at first, he was pretty excited because he gets along with his family, and then his mom told him that his cousin Jackie was going to be coming over too. And as soon as he heard that, his enthusiasm died a little bit, okay? His cousin Jackie was about 25 years old, but she acted like she was about 87. She took things way too seriously, was always whining, and like legitimately acted like she belonged at a retirement home, dude. She hated loud music, she hated people having fun, she hated board games, she hated puppies. You name something cool, hated it. But whatever, you know, you don't really get to pick your family. That's one of the worst things about it. So if his family was coming over, it was obvious she was gonna be there. So he was kind of like, whatever, I guess I'll just deal with it. And because they weren't coming over right that second, he went back to playing video games for a bit because his family wasn't there yet. There was really no reason for him to just go wait downstairs, so he figured he would just finish his game and then go downstairs. And honestly, he didn't think it would be that big of a deal. And he goes back to his game, and he ends up getting sucked back in a bit, which happens. Sometimes you're in a game, you know, you're doing something, you just lose track of time a little bit. You think 4 minutes have passed, it's actually 40 minutes. I think everybody's been there at least once, you know. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it happens. Anyways, he ends up in a situation where his family is like at the house. They show up, but he's really into the game and he doesn't really notice that they're there yet. And usually when this happens, you know, your family would just stay downstairs, wait for you to come down, talk to your mom or whatever. But I guess his cousin Jackie just found the idea of someone having fun playing video games not being downstairs to greet her just deplorable, dude. Like, how dare he sit upstairs, not rushing down immediately to clean her shoes. What a punk. So she ends up coming upstairs to grab him and like pull him down. And when she comes up, she just swings open the door. She doesn't knock, she doesn't say hi, and she just walks over and like stands in front of him where he can't see the TV because she's literally in the way. And she like folds her arms, you know, as someone sassy does, and she's like, "What do you think you're doing right now?" And he moves his head a little bit so he can see the TV, and he's like, "All right, I'll be down soon. I'm in the middle of a game. Like, hi." And she rolls her eyes and like says, "Fine, whatever, waste your time in here," and like goes to leave. And she goes to the door and just slams the door extremely loud. No reason to be that angry, like slamming the door. He literally will be down in a minute, but whatever. And then he hears her start like yelling about how he's wasting his time on the Xbox because apparently video games are more important than family. And Manny's annoyed because that's just not really what happened, but all right, whatever. She left him alone. And so he finishes his game and he gets up to go downstairs. Anyways, he opens his door and he starts going downstairs, but he can hear Jackie talking about him, like really, really loudly. She was screaming for whatever reason. She just basically always was. You know how in Jurassic Park, like the dinosaurs just are always on full volume? That's basically how Jackie was all the time. So as he's walking down the stairs, it's not like it was hard for him to hear her talking about how, you know, these video games turn you into a zombie, a brainless one like Manny, he's so dumb. He wasn't the brightest already, the last thing he needs is something to distract him from his studies. She's just like kind of going in on him, bro. And he hears his family kind of being like, all right, I just don't really feel like it's that big of a deal. And instead of calming down at that point, Jackie just starts to yell louder, you know, thinking it makes you more right. saying that Manny was barely smart enough to function as is, and like it was a miracle that he even had the brain function to play video games. And at that point, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go down and confront her. So he walks down into the living room, and obviously when he walks in and like says hello, everybody goes dead quiet because it's a pretty awkward situation. You know, this lady was just flaming him for being an idiot, and he's like, hey, what's up? And at that point, Manny looks at Jackie and he's like, hey, what were you saying about me? I heard you mention my name. And instead of being embarrassed and being like, oh, nothing, you know, kind of feeling like an idiot, she decides to double down, saying that like he's always been a little bit slow and stupid. So she's kind of concerned that his video game habits are like going to accentuate that. And, you know, if he just keeps playing video games so much, she doesn't really know if he'll ever be able to have friends or anything, because she knows that video games make him dumber. And that when she had come to check on him, he was so into his game that he just looked like a brainless zombie just sitting there not knowing what was going on, just like insulting him, dude. And then she also says that video games were probably the reason that he had never been able to get a girlfriend. Like, she was really just hitting every sensitive subject in one go, just trying to be as insulting as possible. And obviously, Manny isn't just gonna take that laying down. Like, if your cousin starts roasting you like that in front of everybody, you're allowed to reply. That's the rules. So he starts asking her, like, why do you think I'm so stupid? Like, we don't talk a lot. Why do you think I'm so slow and stupid? I just don't understand. And she starts saying that, like, basically anybody who enjoys video games that much has to be lowbrow to begin with, because only stupid people can enjoy it. And by default, you know, if that's your hobby, you're just not too bright. And along with that, along with playing video games being the reason he's dumb, she also says that she's heard him use slang language, and anyone that uses slang words also just tends to not be that intelligent. Yeah, bro, that just makes absolutely no sense. You know, like, oh, you like video games? You're instantly 5 IQ points dumber. Oh, you've said the word swag before? Yeah, you actually can't be smart. It's scientifically proven. I'm sure doing nothing but playing Fortnite 24/7, cranking 90s, screaming at your mom, stealing her credit card, yeah, that probably doesn't make you smarter, but like, if you're going to school doing everything else, I don't know why playing video games for an hour or two a day would just make you an idiot. If it's just a normal hobby, I don't know how that would make things worse. But instead of even arguing with her, because obviously the points don't really make a lot of sense to begin with, Manny just decides to like make Jackie look stupid and roast her back, which, listen, might not be the nicest choice of all time, but whatever, it was pretty funny. So he is like, Jackie, I don't think you have any room to call me stupid, all right? Because if I remember correctly, you had to repeat the senior year 3 times, dude. You failed the 12th grade 3 times. Which, listen, man, I understand sometimes crap happens, you gotta repeat a grade once, I get it. But if you gotta repeat the same grade 3 times, obviously you should not be calling anyone dumb. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, I'm not gonna judge you, but like, people in glass houses shouldn't be throwing stones. If you had to repeat the 12th grade 3 times, you calling somebody else stupid just makes no sense. She had a senior citizen year instead, bro. She probably celebrated her graduation and 21st birthday on the same day. Anyways, obviously the family kind of laughs at that because it's a pretty good comeback to being called dumb to point out that they're actually dumber than you know. And Jackie's just kind of standing there not really knowing what to say. And at that point, she turns to Manny's mom, who's there because it's like the family party, and she's like, Manny just took it too far. You got to tell him to calm down. That hurt my feelings. Which, you know, is a little bit weird. Like, you can't start the fight by insulting him and calling him an idiot and then tell on his mom, you know. How are you going to call this guy a moron, say he's an idiot, everything he likes is lowbrow and stupid, and then tattle on him when he comes back at you? Anyways, Manny's mom, thankfully, isn't gonna let this 25-year-old tattle on her kid, and she's like, you know, I'm not gonna tell him to stop. You started it calling him an idiot, so he has every right to respond, which kudos to the mom for having that attitude. Yeah, if somebody starts calling you a moron, saying how stupid you are, I feel like you're entitled to roast them back a little bit. Not to mention, at this point, everybody at the family reunion is enjoying the show. It's not like family reunions are known for getting very lit in the first place. So they get a little bit of free entertainment watching this go down, you know? It's probably not like the most toxic thing they could have done. They probably should have stopped it, but the story time's better because they didn't. Anyways, after tattling fails and like the family doesn't come to her rescue and bail her out, Jackie is just kind of looking like a deer in headlights, and she tries to double down, saying it doesn't matter how many times she had to redo that grade, video games are still making him pathetic. And then, you know, I don't know if that's the best comeback of all time, but what happens next isn't better. She accidentally hits the self-roast button instead. And she keeps telling him that, like, yeah, you know, if you keep playing video games like that, then you're not going to graduate on time. Like, if you keep playing video games, then you're going to be stuck in school forever, too. And at that point, when she starts pulling that move, Manny sees the kill shot, bro. He sees the perfect time to strike like a cobra. And he says, well, I'm on track to graduate right now, and even if somehow video games make me fail my grade once, I've still got 2 more tries before I'm equal with you. Which I've got to give credit for, bro. Manny, that's pretty heat, dog. And at that point, the entire family is laughing. Like, even the grandparents let out a little bit of a chuckle at that one. They were trying to stay neutral, not really show their reaction too much, but that one was just too good. And when the entire family starts laughing, she decides to just, like, go full victim mode. She starts crying, saying that, man, he's taking it too far. He's being too mean. And the rest of the family is like, hey, you were just screaming about him being a moron, like stupid forever. He's always been dumb. You can't really be upset when now he's like roasting you back, And suddenly, Jackie, like, stops crying about it. As soon as she realizes that it's not gonna work, she stops crying, which, doesn't mean it was 100% fake tears, but the odds of it stopping as soon as she's not getting sympathy, if it was real, slim to none. So whatever, she's done crying and she starts looking around the room for, like, any other backup plan. So she stands up and she's like, I don't have to take this. And then Manny says, yeah, you don't have to. You're more than welcome to leave, which, honestly, not bad. And she starts walking to the door very slowly the entire time, being like, I'm really gonna leave, guys. I'm serious. Like, I'm gonna leave. Obviously, just kind of begging someone to be like, no, please don't go. But nobody's really begging her to stay. They're kind of okay with it, too, because it's just been too dramatic for, like, the first 5 minutes of being here, right? And she's really taking forever, just hamming it up. I can't believe my family would do this. And, finally the grandma of the family is like, okay, just go, bye. Like, just kind of over the dramatics. And at that point, Jackie turns around, runs back into the room, full sprint, and is like, this entire family's addicted to video games. It's true. Obviously, you guys have to be addicted to it because you're picking video games over me, your own family. And she's literally laying on the floor while she's screaming this, like writhing on the floor like a snake. You know what toddlers do in Walmart when they're just really annoyed and they're like, just screaming on the floor? That's what's going on. Keep in mind, this is a 25-year-old woman having a full-blown super temper tantrum because her cousin was playing too many video games and wasn't waiting downstairs to greet her when she came over for the family party, dude. Like, this is all it takes to launch into a tantrum. Who even cares? Who even cares? And then even then, you're trying to scream at your family that they picked video games over you when that's just not what happened. They just didn't agree that you should be allowed to insult your cousin as much as he wants and him not be able to reply. So the family tries to explain that. They're just like, okay, that's not really true. They just don't think it's fair that you're attacking Manny and not allowing him to reply. And if she's gonna be an adult, she can't be throwing tantrums like that because it just makes her impossible to talk to and deal with. And she's still crying on the floor during all of this, as the family is calmly explaining that, like, you laying on the floor writhing around like a snake isn't gonna make us change our mind. And she's just still doing it. And she finally gets up, kind of realizing that that wasn't gonna work. The tantrum approach simply stopped working probably about 20 years ago. And so she's like, fine, if you guys aren't gonna consider the fact that your addiction is ruining this family, then I'm not gonna sit here and tolerate this, and just rage quit and ends up running out the door, slamming it behind her, just causing a scene. And when she slams it pretty hard to the point where, like, the frame around the door shakes a bit. And I guess the thought in her mind was probably like, oh, the tantrum isn't gonna work. Better flee as far as possible now. She really tried the wild Pokemon approach. Like, oh, the wild Pokemon has fled as soon as it didn't work. Anyways, she ends up leaving and, like, getting in her car, honks the horn a bunch, drives away, trying to get attention again. And pretty much as soon as she leaves, she sends a long text to Manny saying that, like, he ruined her life. He's tearing this family apart with his gaming addiction. And, like, until he figures out a way to not be as addicted to video games, she's not going to consider him family anymore. And he's kind of like, okay, whatever. He doesn't really care. He doesn't even reply to it. He just kind of reacts to it with a thumbs up. You know how you can react to iMessages? He gives it the thumbs up. And he ends up just going back to the family party. The rest of the family party was pretty fun. Everybody was chilling, having themselves a good time. It had to have gotten better after that, dude. Like, if you have your cousin on the middle of the floor screaming, having a temper tantrum, even if they don't leave, if they just stop, the party's gonna be better. But yeah, the rest of the family was having a better time too, because I'm gonna assume the dramatics and getting really mad at people wasn't just a Manny thing. It would have been somebody else. But then again, they also let Manny's addiction just destroy their family. Life's never gonna be the same now, guys. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. If you made it this far, if you don't mind going ahead and commenting the word video game down below, it helps the channel do better. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe and turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. Other than that, if you like the intro song, a link to it can be found down below, along with my link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. And on top of that, if you really want to help out and you drink G Fuel, using code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout will get you a discount. So if you haven't already, head on over to gfuel.com, use code SCRUBBY. And one last thing, if you take a look at your screen right now, you'll see the coolest merch to ever exist in the history of the planet, which can also be yours by taking a trip down to the description. But yeah, on that note, guys, that's everything. Thank you so much for all the support. I appreciate you, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a story time for y'all about a popular girl getting rejected in front of the entire school in an assembly. Yeah, this is a subscriber story that was sent in. I brought back the Lego Star Wars gameplay. Last time I used it, y'all demanded that I bring it back, so by popular demand, here it is. And yeah, before we get into it, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. You're gonna get rejected in front of the entire school as well, and that's just not a very swag situation. And let's go. You would think that it's illegal. I'm getting quiet now. Laying low when you're rich, so I'm wiping out. Making out, stack the bread, cause you love the sound, just so I'm Alright, so this subscriber was a little bit inspired by the Minecraft god that rejected that one girl that I told the story about earlier this year, and decided to send in his own story of his own experience dealing with this popular girl that, you know, thought that she was gonna, you know, pull a good old I'ma embarrass you on him, but he got the good switcheroo Uno reverse card 720 Dunkaroo postered on her. So this all started right when prom was coming up. When this person was a junior in high school, obviously prom is a pretty big deal to like juniors and seniors at high schools, or at least some of them. I personally didn't really care that much about them, but you know, I know a lot of people take those school dances very, very seriously. It's a life or death situation. You would think that they were children on Dance Moms with like how seriously they take this crap. Anyways, with all that coming up, the school kind of got to jumping about who was gonna ask who and where was gonna go where, and you know, what couples were going together and how everyone was gonna ask everybody. For some reason, I feel like when you're in high school, asking somebody to prom is like a bigger deal than asking somebody to marry you. I swear, dude. It's like you need to sign 47 hours notice. You need to have a documentary crew there so that way they never forget it. It's like, bro, we're all teenagers going to a school dance. It's not that serious. And in the midst of all this conversation, there was this popular girl that we're gonna name Misty for the rest of this video, just because I was watching Pokemon earlier. And Misty was obviously one of the most popular girls in school. She wasn't a cheerleader or anything, but she was like class president. And usually, you know, the class president's like a nice person. This girl must have just bullied her way in because, you know, from what the subscriber tells me, she was just not very nice or friendly to anyone. Except for other popular kids, you know what I mean? But other than that, she like got off on making fun of people. And so everybody's talking about dates, and this Misty girl makes a joke about how she's gonna ask the weird kid Josh to prom, and everybody starts kind of laughing at it. Now, what she didn't realize is that Josh, the quote-unquote weird kid that she was gonna ask to prom, was within earshot of this conversation, but she just didn't realize that he was there. And she starts telling all these popular kids about how, like, okay, in reality, she's gonna go with this other guy, but she's gonna ask Josh in front of everybody and put him on the spot, and then get him all hyped up, and then like a couple days later just reject him. Which is so unnecessarily mean, bro. Like, it's not even like she's gonna reject him at the assembly in front of everybody when she asks him. She was gonna let him stay hyped for a bit and then just crush his heart after, so it would have just been the most heartless thing ever. She wanted the good PR of asking the kid who, you know, wasn't very popular to prom, but then didn't actually want to go through with it, in which case, just don't ask him. Like, he's a person. He's not just this chihuahua that you can be like, I'm gonna take you to prom, psych. And even then, it's like the bragging about it, which is messed up. It's not like she asked him and then changed her mind. You know, that's it's messed up, but that's okay. Nah, when you're planning the entire time to not go with them at all, then you shouldn't ask. It's not a situation where she just changed her mind. But whatever, Josh is obviously just gonna act not privy to the information. He made a choice to not go confront her. You know, that was a possibility. He could have done that. But why just go tell her you don't want to get embarrassed when you can embarrass her back? You know, revenge is a dish best served lukewarm. I'm not really sure. I've never really had it. And it's not even necessarily revenge. It's not like he's been sitting there plotting on this girl for weeks. He's just like, you're about to embarrass me. Joke's on you. I'ma embarrass you back. It literally is just the Uno reverse card. Anyways, Josh just kind of is minding his own business. And Josh was the type of guy who, like, wasn't incredibly popular. He didn't really talk to a lot of people. That's because he had switched schools a couple times. So obviously he was used to people kind of like not liking him for some reason. I don't know if this is just me. I always thought new kids were really cool because they were from a place that was not there, you know, personally. But hey, apparently some people out there are just like, aha, new kid, better shove him in a trash can and give him a wedgie. I don't know, bro. I was never like a wedgie given type of person, but for some reason, apparently people just beefing with the new kids. So anyways, the school's alit about prom, and Josh is kind of chilling, doing his thing after that incident where he overheard it, just trying to forget about it. And when he's sitting just vibing, doing his thing in one of his classes, one of Misty's friends walks up to him and is just like, hey Josh, what's up? And he had never talked to this person before, so it was kind of a bizarre situation for her to just walk up out of nowhere and start being like, hey man, what's poppin'? This is not a Jack Harlow song, you know what I mean? There's no reason for this lady to be asking what's poppin' to him. So whatever, he's like, hi, what's up? Are you going with anyone to prom? No, I'm not. And that's when Misty's friend is like, okay, well, you know Misty, right? And he goes, Misty, like the most popular girl in school, Misty? And obviously her friend's like, yeah. Well, she wants to go with you to prom, and, you know, we just wanted to make sure that you didn't have a date, and if she asked you that you would be able to go. So if she asked you, would you say yes? And he's kind of like confused. So he looks at her and, you know, kind of gives him a chance. He's like, she wants to go to prom with me. Like she asked you to come ask me to go to prom with her. And the friend is like, yeah, of course, everybody thinks that you're like one of the coolest kids in school, so of course she'd want to go with you. She's just straight up lying to this dude right now. You know what I mean? Like, straight up lying to him. But whatever, Josh doesn't really want to let her in on it, so he's like, okay, sure, fine, yeah, I would love to go with her. And she's like, awesome, great, well, you know, I don't want to spoil too much, but like, don't get another date, okay? Don't get another date. And that's really messed up, bro. Like, if you're gonna prank this kid by asking him to prom in front of everybody, whatever, like that's already messed up. But going out of your way to tell him not to get another date while like you guys are just going to mess with him is silly, bro. What if some girl walked up to him right now, or he walked up to a girl that he was planning to ask to prom, and now all those plans are just kiboshed because y'all wanted to be funny and just mess with some poor kid in the middle of an assembly and embarrass him? Anyways, the day of this like assembly comes, and sure enough, they all get rounded in there. I don't know why. I guess at some schools assemblies are like mandatory or whatever, but in my experience at my school, I just got to leave an hour early if I didn't want to go, which was pretty sick. I realize I'm lucky now. Anyways, I guess this guy had to go to the assembly, so he gets in there, they're doing the thing, and obviously about halfway through the assembly, they start talking about prom. That's like basically one of the reasons that they were even here. Are you guys ready for prom? Yeah. Well, our very own Misty has something that she wants to do to get prom started off right. You know how they do that, just, something about the fakeness of a school assembly just makes me more uncomfortable than basically anything. Like, everyone just pretending that we care about the school, you know, let's be honest, nobody actually does. Whatever, Misty comes up and she's like, all right, guys, so school pride is very important, so I figured I would start it off here by asking one of our very own students to prom. All right, guys, yeah. And like nobody applauds because nobody actually cares. And so she's like, Josh, and then she says his last name, come on down, come on down. So he goes on down, bro. He's now on the floor in front of everybody. It's not a very fun situation. All of her friends are sitting there. The friend that had asked him not to get his date is sitting there smiling at him, and she gives him a thumbs up, bro. They're just doing this man dirty, trying to set him up so hard. And she's like, so in the spirit of kicking prom off right, Josh, will you go to prom with me? And you know that it's a bad situation when the auditorium starts laughing. They didn't even like, go like, "Aw," or even nothing. They just started laughing because they couldn't believe what they were seeing, and they obviously thought they were about to witness some funny stuff go down. And that's when Josh shocks the world, and he goes, no. And Misty was so confident that she was going to say yes that she was already like, "All right, guys, go get your dates," and then she had to stop herself. Like, she was mid, "All right, guys, as you can see, I got my date, so you go get yours," before she even processed the fact that this dude had said no. And the look that she gave him, in the way he sent it to me at least, was just pure. If she was like an X-Men, all right, pure hatred, she would shoot lasers out of her eyes. Like, the guy who has Cyclops that has to wear the sunglasses at all times. She's that upset. And while holding the microphone goes, "What?" And Josh just goes, "No, I honestly don't really want to go to prom. And if I was gonna go, I wouldn't want to go with somebody like you." And obviously when he gets the "somebody like you" line, everybody's like, "Oh," because, hey, man, it's one thing to get rejected, but it's another thing for somebody to be like, "I'd rather not go, and even if I did, I would definitely not be caught dead going with you." And at that point, Misty is kind of just sitting there stupefied, bro, as if she's a character in a Harry Potter movie who just got hit with that one spell. I think it is stupefy. Anyways, she just kind of is like, well, I didn't want to go with you anyways," which is always the classic response, dude. They always start being like, "Well, I didn't want to anyways." But at that point, Josh was kind of like, "Well, then why did you just ask me?" And everybody started laughing at that too, because he kind of got her. Like, "What do you mean you didn't want to go with me? You just asked me." And at that point, he had kind of put Misty in this situation where she was screwed. She either had to come out and admit that she was like trying to trick this kid into, looking good by asking him and then not going with him to prom, which really wouldn't have been a good look and probably would have gotten her in trouble with like the principals and the teachers, because that's basically bullying. Or she just has to take the rejection and deal with it, bro. So anyways, she ends up just kind of just eating it because she realizes that she's gonna get in trouble if she says anything. And she's like, "Okay, well, that was awkward." And then Josh went and sat down. And for the rest of the assembly, everybody was like high-fiving him, patting him on the back, letting him know that it was awesome. And even after that, he was a newer kid, but after that, a lot more people thought he was really cool. I guess this Missy girl was kind of known for just messing with people and being mean, so seeing her get her comeuppance in front of everybody was just a situation that a lot of people were on board with, it was hype time. Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you pressing that like button. Seriously though, okay? Please, like right now, 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you for liking it. And while you're down there, you might as well comment the word Star Wars down below if you guys want more Star Wars Lego gameplay. That's what we'll go with. And yeah, other than that, use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout for a discount. If you like the intro song, you can find a link to it in the description down below, along with a link to the merch store and my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. Yeah, that's right, I do have a podcast. It's pretty cool. Feel free to check it out. And yeah, on that note, I'm pretty sure that's everything I gotta plug. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And hopefully I will see you guys all next time with another video. I won't end the gameplay until I get True Jedi, just because I feel like that would be very unfair to everyone that's been watching. So yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot again, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got a story time for y'all that I think you guys are gonna love. That was sent in by a subscriber about a teacher who absolutely hated video games. The person who sent this in is a junior in high school, so obviously at this point I'm a little bit surprised that teachers exist that don't, like, at least, hide their hate of video games. Openly hating them just seems like an ask for, like, kids to not like you. But yeah, this person had a reading teacher who was in his mid-50s who was a bit of a jerk and, sent in a story about it, so I figured that's what we could talk about. Before we get into it, though, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. You're gonna get a teacher like this, and that's no bueno. And without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so as I said, this guy's teacher was in his mid-50s, which is like old enough to not be hip anymore, and also old enough to start getting that old man confidence where you're just kind of excited when people disagree with you, Wah, I hate video games. They've served no good purpose. And then even when people make a good argument, you're like, nope, I'm old, respect your elders, haha. And then they do the Take the L dance from Fortnite, but like their generation's version, so the Charleston. Anyways, the guy himself wasn't necessarily an angry teacher, like wasn't wasn't a desk flipping, screaming guy. He was just very condescending and was just confident that he was the smartest person in the room constantly. And that was the worst type of teacher to me. At least an angry guy is just angry, you know. Don't treat me like I'm a 4-year-old. Like, when teachers were insanely condescending, that would get under my skin so much. But part of the condescension for this guy particularly came when it came to, like, future careers. He basically thought that any job that didn't exist in 1955 when he was prom king, like, just was stupid and really had no purpose. If anyone wanted to be anything that existed that was, like, based on technology or anything, he told them it was a waste of time and absolutely stupid. One of his favorite things to talk crap about was programming, you know, which to me is really dumb. Like, that's a pretty secure job, dude, pretty decent pay there. I don't know why he hated it so much, but he really hated anything gaming related too. Maybe his son, you know, died in a tragic Atari accident that nobody knows about, but like, for whatever reason, dude, this guy hated video games. Computers and technology were, you know, enemy number 2, but compared to Mario, dude, you would have thought that technology was a saint. This guy really treated Nintendo like they were like trying to plant secrets in the minds of American children to make them more favorable to communism. Absolutely wild theories coming out of this dude about video game. At one point during the year, though, he ends up assigning this presentation where, like, they have to do research about a career and then make a presentation about it and present it to the class. And honestly, that's a pretty simple project. I think a lot of people have had a project pretty similar to this. Like, it seems like at some point, sometime in your school career, you have to do a project of what I want to be when I grow up. It's just, like, kind of common. And the subscriber that I'm going to call Alex from now on, you know, he knew that he wanted to be a game designer. And he also knew that his teacher would be incredibly pissed off if he said that. Which, you know, is honestly pretty stupid. I understand that you might not like video games personally, you know, you don't gotta be on level 800 in Candy Crush to just accept the fact that someone could do their job as designing video games now. You don't have to like it for that to just be a fact. And the fact is, people make money designing video games now. It's just a thing. So, you know, you don't have to like it, but game companies do make billions. It's just a fact. Like it or not, there are a lot of jobs related to this industry. I mean, even like Rockstar has proven that video games ain't nothing to laugh at. GTA 5 is literally the most profitable piece of media ever created. Like, ever, compared to the investment put in. So, you know, they're doing pretty okay. Like, video games are nothing to bat an eye at. But, you know, old people are always right. We just have to accept the fact that they know better than us. We are always stupid and inferior to them because they have more life experience and they can't work an iPad. And even then, you know, let's say you take a second, you don't understand video games. You don't have to hate it just because you don't understand it. I don't understand how life insurance works, but I promise you that somewhere out there is a guy who's like a multi-millionaire off selling life insurance, and for him, it's his passion. And that's all right. I don't gotta understand it, but if somebody really wants to do it and will write an essay about why they really want to go into the life insurance game, I just accept it and tell them to chase their dreams. But anyways, Alex decides to just go ahead and do his project on it anyways because it's actually what he wants to do with his life, and he's not going to waste his time spending a week researching a career he doesn't want. But he makes extra triple checks everything to make sure that nothing is stupid. He doesn't want to waste any of his teacher's time. He doesn't want to give him any reason to hate the project more than he's already going to. Some classmates along the way had kind of figured out what he was working on and warned him that he should probably switch it over, but as he said, you know, he's going to stick to his guns and just go for it. Anyways, and the first day to present comes, and Alex ends up going in the middle of class, which honestly is like one of the best times to go. I used to like to go first just to get it out of the way, but if you can't go first, you go with the middle because no one's paying any attention. Towards the end, you get another little burst of energy because everyone's excited to get out of there. But if you're dead in the middle, everyone's daydreaming, doing homework from other classes, no one's really paying attention to your presentation. But, you know, he gets up there and on slide 1, his teacher has an issue before he can even start his presentation. Anyways, all the first slide says was just some general information about like, I want my career to be in game design. And the teacher stops him instantly and says, that's not a real job. And obviously Alex is confused, you know, he knew he didn't like it, but it's a real job, so he just didn't really know what to say. So he kind of just says the average salary and the amount of people that work as one, kind of hoping that that would like make the teacher back down a little bit and realize that, oh, it's grown a little bit it since 1999 or whatever. Like, oh, they make more money than they used to. I don't know, just something. And the teacher is like, that doesn't matter because your job isn't safe anyways. Like, if you work as a game designer, you're gonna get fired all the time. Bro, this isn't 1981, you know? Like, even in a bad economy, gaming still exists. Sure, there was a time where gaming kind of got wiped off the map, but even now, let's say it were to shrink. If it shrank from, 200 billion to 100 billion, there still would be plenty of jobs available and people would be working. It's not like every single game designer gets fired. Even then, like, let's say you wanted to start a video editing company. People wouldn't be like, oh, in a bad economy, they stop making movies. No, they would be like, oh, okay, I guess that's a pretty practical situation. It's not like every single game designer gets fired whenever a company doesn't do good either. Like, some of them retain a job, and even then, gaming is growing. I don't understand. I don't foresee a situation where they're just gonna suddenly be all fired tomorrow. And Alex proceeds to explain all of these things to him, kind of pointing out that, like, hey, it kind of doesn't really make sense. There is job security now in the industry. It's not really possible for everyone to lose their job at one time. But apparently none of that really matters to Mr. I'm a Boomer over here, you know, it just goes right over his head, and he basically says that all gamers are pathetic neckbeards who can't get real jobs, and that's why they go to game design. Yeah, you know how it is, bro. All gamers are pathetic. You know me, bro. I have a neckbeard the size of Nantucket. What's really weird about that is I literally feel like every guy I know now plays video games in some capacity, like whether it's Fortnite, you know, Warzone, like they play something. Obviously, I'm a little bit more into it than the average bear. If you think I'm pathetic, then whatever, I guess so. But I feel like everybody is a quote-unquote gamer these days. I feel like not everyone can be pathetic, you know? Like, is everyone pathetic? 100 percentile? They're just going for the true Jedi moment? I can't even deny, you know, maybe some of us are. We all know somebody that's a little bit too into video games. They're like talking in innuendos in real life. They're talking to a girl when they like hold their hand, level up, pew pew pew. Like, okay, that's pathetic, but that's not what's going on here. This is a kid explaining a very logical career choice to go into something that he's passionate about. As a teacher, you should be like, oh, that's a pretty good pick. You shouldn't be bullying the poor kid for just wanting to do something he likes to do. It's not like default you touch a controller and just instantly have a neckbeard, alright? That's not how it is. You design one level of a video game and women instantly just become repulsed to the very sight of you, dude. You're never allowed into a party again. That's not how it is. Regardless, at this point, Alex is rightfully getting pretty pissed off because he put a lot of work into this project and the teacher's not even letting him, like, get into his presentation. If you want to press me about it, fine, but at least press me about it after the presentation when it's time to, like, take questions. You know, you're not even giving the kid a chance to actually present his material as to why it makes sense for him to be a game designer. So he decides to just kind of start roasting him back at this point. Obviously not the best idea in every situation to argue with the teacher, but he decides at this point to just send him YOLO. So he asks him if he thinks teaching is a real job, and obviously he says yes because teaching is a real job. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and say teaching isn't a real job. That's ridiculous. I'm not Jake Paul. I'm not gonna make a rap song about dissing all the teachers. But you know, Alex basically was laying that as a trap card. So when he says yeah, he thinks teaching is a real card, he basically's got him. Like, oh, if teaching's a real job, then check this out. And he asks him then, how does this fake job make more money than his real one? You know, which is a pretty fair statement, dude. Like it or not, a high-level game designer, programmer, you know, somebody like that, even working in marketing for video games, makes more than a teacher. I'm not saying teachers don't deserve to make more, but we can't deny most jobs be making more than teachers out here. And the teacher kind of has like a surprise Pikachu moment and starts getting defensive because that's totally different because, you know, he's really got nothing, because that's a very valid point. If that job is fake, then your very, very real quote-unquote job should be making more money than it, bro. You don't have to like the industry for people to be able to make money doing it, you know? He says, even if I work in my unsecure job for 10 years, and he like air quotes around unsecure, I'll be 10 years ahead of where you'll be regardless. Which, you know, is definitely a little bit of a zinger. You shouldn't say that to like a teacher who's being chill, but in this situation, when the guy's telling you that your dreams are stupid and there's no reason for you to be doing it, I feel like you kind of had free reign to be like, boom bada bing, take this roast and deal with it. You're a pork roast on Sunday night, man. I don't know what to tell you. You just gotta take this one on the chin, Billy Bob Thornton. And the teacher's response to that is that like, yeah, well, you get more money, but you're pathetic. And Alex, you know, was ready to rumble on this one, and he goes, if it's pathetic, then what do you call this? And he changed sides and he starts showing stock data at that point from video game companies. And you know, some companies have have been doing very well by being on the stock market related to video games because they make money and money talks, it's just is what it is. If a company can make a lot more money than they do spend, then, it's a good thing. The company grows, the stock does better. And he starts explaining that, game developers getting involved basically have stock options on top of like good benefits, and he kind of starts listing all the things that go along with a high salary and like potential to grow and really make a lot of money in the gaming world, And he asked the teacher if if all of this means that it's still pathetic. Like, oh, is it pathetic? And the teacher at that point is kind of turning red, looking a little bit embarrassed because the class ain't really on his side. Nothing against teaching. It's 100% a real job. I respect 99% of teachers, but the 1% that want to be like, nope, if it didn't exist in 1995, you can't, or in 1955, sorry, you can't do it. Yeah, those guys kind of deserve to get dunked on a little bit. So the class is like, I don't know, man. If it's making money, then I guess it's real, Hey, if it's not real, but you got a couple million in the bank account, that's what matters. Like, everybody kind of had that vibe to him. And he kind of tries to explain that it's different one more time, that like the CEO wasn't a game designer and that like it's not a good comparison because he'd never make millions. And then the kid kind of was like, all right, well, okay, let's change that. At least I have a chance at making millions. Like, okay, let's say I go just get a normal job being an accountant. Let's say I work at H&R Block, bro. Like, what are my odds of at least getting a chance at getting some stock options or something, And the teacher's like, well, either way, I think it's just a pathetic industry. And he goes, all right, and I think that line of thinking is pathetic. And the class at that point is like, ooh, and the teacher tells him to get out of class, which he's kind of got to do at that point. I can't even lie. Sent him to the dean's office, because if he doesn't do something at that point, then the class ain't ever gonna listen again. He's got to do what he's got to do. And when he gets to the dean basically tells him that the teacher had reported him for insubordination, which isn't listening to anything, being rude, and he tells them that's not true, and he kind of explains the situation. They don't believe him though, and they kind of are like, nope, you're trying to avoid trouble, and they decide to call in his parents from work to try to like rectify the situation and make him realize the wrongness of his ways. And while he's waiting there, his teacher comes in and starts saying that he can't wait to talk to his parents and tell them about his stupid dreams. And finally they get there, they go into this conference room, and the teacher starts telling the story that he's making a joke of the assignment. And Alex speaks up and basically is like, no, you told me to research what I wanted my career to be. I want to be a game designer, so I researched that. And then you told me it's not a real career and stupid and pathetic, and anyone who plays video games is pathetic. And the teacher rolls his eyes and is like, yeah, that's because it's a really stupid job. And at that point, his parents kind of are like, wait a minute. All right, his mom's not cool with him saying it's a stupid job and is like, wait, how is game design a stupid job? And the dad is like, yeah, I have friends that work in game design. It's definitely a real thing. Even, mobile gaming, casino games. Like, yeah, sure, it might not be working on a AAA Call of Duty title, but there's definitely people that work in game design. And the teacher is like, well, I just don't think it's a real job. I just don't think so. And the dean's like, did you tell this kid that it's not a real job? And the teacher says, yeah, with a big smug smile on, looking at the dean. And the dean is like, okay, well, you can't really do that. You're punishing this kid for doing the assignment the way you asked. What's the point of that? And when the dean switches from his side, the smug smile kind of gets wiped off his face pretty quickly. Teachers, having a student mad at them, parent mad, when their boss is mad, it's kind of different. And the dean is like, super apologetic, but he's doing the super corny thing that deans have to do in the situation. We're here to encourage students' dreams, it's a great career choice, a very smart one. And his parents are like demanding an apology, bro. And the teacher doesn't want to apologize, but the dean is like, no, you need to apologize. You can't be treating students that way. This is ridiculous. And he reluctantly agrees and is like, I'm sorry for telling you that that's dumb, He probably still thinks that all gamers are neckbeards, but at least he had to look dumb in front of some people, I just don't really understand what his point was, though, because, it is real, bro. That's like me. All right, do I necessarily love the fact that people out there make money by, I don't know, gambling on turtle swim races? Somewhere out there's a millionaire doing that. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't really care, I guess. Get your bag. It's kind of weird to me, but hey, do what you gotta do. It's definitely a real thing, I bet. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not real. Even then, though, the dean kind of switched him out of the class just because they they were worried about him getting like retribution by messing with his grades and whatnot. So yeah, that's just the way it is. The person is now kind of looking into gaming school seriously, applied to some, got accepted into an early program, so GG for him. But yeah, anyways guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button and let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. Go ahead and comment the word gamer down there if you play video games or like want a career in video games one day and made it to the end. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout for a bit of a discount. Helps me out, helps you out. Everyone's a winner. And if you want to listen to some of the stories on Spotify, I will put a link down there. Feel free to go check those out. It'll be a link, a handy dandy link. Go click it. And last but certainly not least, in the description, there's also a link to the merch, which you guys should check out. I'm not biased in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a subscriber story that was sent in that is probably going to make a lot of you cringe and like wreathe with anger a little bit. It's about this dude whose little brother broke his PC and then got away with it by playing the "I'm a little kid, I don't know what I did" card, even though he definitely did. And, yeah, you know, before we get into it, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. Your PC is going to meet an unfortunate end, and you don't want that to happen. And if you're watching this on your phone, then your phone's going to meet an unfortunate end, and you don't want that to happen. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so it's no secret that, like, little kids, you know, they're very obsessed with anything that their cooler older brother, older cousin kinda does. You know, I remember when I was younger, my older cousin would play PlayStation 2, and I would sit and watch him for hours and beg to play. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's pretty standard. And the person who sent this in, they have a PC, they play a lot of Valorant, and their little brother loves to kind of sit behind them and watch them play. I guess, you know, it's something that they'll do for hours and hours. And of course, as little kids do, he begs to play, you know, let me play, and every time his brother's like, no, because his brother is only 4 years old, and he doesn't want his sticky fingers on the mouse. You know, he has his own iPad, and like, his iPad is covered in that gross sticky film that like only little kid fingers can put on an iPad, and he just didn't want that on his stuff, so he keeps saying no, and his brother's mad about it, and one day, he takes his computer out into the backyard to blow it out with a can of air. And while he's doing it, his little brother comes out and he's talking to him about all the parts on the computer, and they have this super long talk about the water radiator, you know, and how it works and how air gets through it and how it cools down the PC, and, you know, about the GPU, all of that stuff. And at the time, he's like, wow, my little brother's just curious about building computers. He's pretty young. That's pretty cool. He thinks, you know, that his brother's gonna be like a tech guy when he grows up and they'll have stuff to talk about. And what he gets out of it very quickly is that his brother understands that, you know, you shouldn't really mess with the computer. The stuff is very fragile. You shouldn't be playing with it. After this conversation, he knows his brother is aware of that because he's constantly telling him, when you're working with it, you got to be careful. It can't get wet. It can't get stuff on it, you know, that type of stuff. And his brother's like, that makes sense. That makes sense. And so, you know, one day he's playing Valorant after they had cleaned the computer, and his brother comes in and he goes, can I play? And he's in the middle of a game, and he goes, no, I'm in the middle of a game. And his brother's like, well, we cleaned it the other day, and, you know, I learned a lot about it, and I really want to play. Please let me play. And he's like, I'm in the middle of a game. You can't play right now. No. And his brother, you know, walks over and unplugs the computer in the middle of a game. And he's like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? He starts yelling at him, tells him to get out of his room, you know, leave, go away. And his brother is like, you won't let me play. And he's like, go away. So he closes his door after his brother leaves, plugs in his computer, and is like, damn, that kid's pretty entitled. I don't know if y'all would agree with this, bro, but the iPad generation does have a little bit of entitlement issues. They feel like everything just belongs to them, you know? He's like, dude, my brother's spoiled, but, like, that was too far. And sure enough, he ends up getting back into his game. Thank goodness, you know, he boots up the computer. He gets back in before he gets in trouble, but his team had lost some rounds. He's just annoyed at the situation. So after, he leaves his room and he closes his door and he goes to tell his mom what happened, hoping that, you know, there would be something done about it. And he goes and he tells his mom, and they go looking for his brother. His mom wanted to talk to him, tell him that's not okay. You know, you can't interrupt your brother while he's gaming. Unplugging people's stuff is rude. Like that entire stuff because he is young. And they end up not being able to find him in his room, the backyard, anywhere. And finally, they go back up to his room and the door's open and they walk in and the kid is just sitting there next to the computer case with the case open and he's taking stuff out of his mouth and putting it in the computer. And instantly, the subscriber is like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And they run over and the mom's like, "Stop, stop." And they get over there. And next to his computer, he had like gotten this jug of Laffy Taffy for his birthday because it was his favorite candy. Well, his little brother had been chewing the pieces till they were like a gross paste, and he had basically been putting them, opened the case, and put them on the radiator like the water cooler and pushed, so that taffy was just jammed into all the little crevices in it. So the water cooler's broken, you know, like I guess in theory you could get the taffy out, but you'd have to sit there for hours scraping it out. And he had also taken a bunch of Laffy Taffy, chewed it, gotten it all nice and wet with his saliva, put it on the motherboard, the GPU, everything. And instantly his brother, you know, the subscriber is like, "My PC's toast. It's done. I can't turn it on. The motherboard would fry. Like, it's over. It's over." And he's pissed. He starts telling his mom, like, "He broke my PC. He did it on purpose. Like, you need to get him out of here. Like, go away. Are you kidding me?" And his mom is obviously pissed. She takes his little brother out and is like, "You need to calm down before you come downstairs," because he's pissed. And so he kind of hears his mom kind of yelling at his brother downstairs and some crying, and he thinks that his brother's in trouble. So he kind of is just like looking at the computer. He's looking at it, and there's like 8 pieces of Laffy Taffy that have been jammed into the cooler. You know, there's a couple pieces on the motherboard, 2 pieces on the GPU, and he had really like done it baby bird style, you know, where the mom basically regurgitates the food into the baby bird's mouth. Like that's the equivalent of what he had basically done to this Laffy Taffy before he had put it on everything. So, like I said, there's really no chance of him being able to salvage it and scrape it all off. And so he's just kind of pissed, and he starts to go downstairs because he's calmed down enough to talk about what happened, you know, talk to his brother about it. And he gets down there, and his brother is, like, eating a popsicle on the counter, you know, and he's kind of confused because his brother's got this big smile, and he's like, "He broke my computer. Why does he have a popsicle?" And his mom starts explaining that his brother didn't know what he was doing. He thought that, you know, if he put the Laffy Taffy in the holes that he was fixing the computer, and, you know, he's just a little kid. He doesn't know any better. And he looks at his brother while his mom is saying this, and his brother just has this smirk on his face of like, "I'm totally gonna get away with this." You know, the smirk? And at that point, he's like, "Mom, he's lying. He totally knows what he did. He knows exactly what he did. He broke it on purpose." And his mom's like, "Come on now. Do you really think that a 4-year-old knows what he's doing when it comes to breaking the computer?" And he's like, yeah, he does. He's smirking while you're saying this." And as soon as he does that, bro, his brother, almost like with an Oscar-worthy performance, goes from smiling to just crying, like on a switch, dude. Just, "No, I don't know what I'm doing." And his mom's like, "Stop trying to upset your brother." You know, now she's turning it back on him like he's bullying his brother. She's like, "Does it make you feel like a big man to make your brother cry?" And he's like, "Mom, I'm telling you right now, he knows what he's doing. He knew that putting Laffy Taffy in that, putting it all over the stuff, was gonna break it." And she kind of is mad now, you know, trying to defend her son because she thinks that he's being ridiculous. And she's like, "Oh, really? How would he know that that would break it?" And he starts telling his mom that, you know, the other day when he was in the backyard trying to clean it, his brother had come out and they had talked for a long time about how computers work and cleaning it. And he had told him that you can't get anything wet, you know, you don't want to put anything in the cooler. He had told him basically all the ways that he could break his stuff. And when he's saying that, his little brother just denies it. He's like, "That's not true. That's not true. That never happened. He didn't teach me anything. I have no idea anything about computers." My dog's joining the story, I guess. And his mom is kind of like, "I don't know. I just don't believe that he would be able to remember that even if you did teach him." Which, listen, all right, here's my thing. 4 is young, obviously. Young enough to make a mistake, but not young enough that, like, when you tell them not to do something that they don't know not to do it. You know, if you say, "Hey, don't put anything wet on the computer," and the next day they're spraying it with the hose, they know what they're doing, bro. Like, I'm sorry, but I just refuse to believe that you have no idea what you're doing when you purposely, like, break the computer perfectly. You know, if he really didn't know what he was doing, I don't think he would have hit every single critical part of the computer perfectly with the Laffy Taffy. And I'm not trying to say he's a criminal genius. Obviously, he's a young kid. He doesn't really know what he's doing. Like, he's just trying to stay out of trouble. But that being said, you do kind of got to be concerned about the fact... All right, Caleb, listen, man. I understand you want to be a superstar, but you gotta let me finish the video. All right, anyways, guys, like, you do kind of got to be scared of the fact that he's just throwing his brother under the bus this hard. And, as much as I would love to say there's a happy ending, his computer gets fixed, his mom, is kind of like, you need to stop accusing your brother of this. This is ridiculous. We're going to help you pay for it. But, like, if you keep trying to be mean to your brother and make him feel bad, then we're not going to help you at all. So he basically just shuts up and stops saying anything about it because, he doesn't want to have to pay for the computer that he didn't break, knowing full well that his brother purposely broke it. So his brother kind of avoids trouble, doesn't really get in trouble for it, and is kind of just like, haha, I got away with it. And when he gets his new computer, his number one rule is like, you're not allowed to touch it. And, his brother kind of tries to make a fuss about it, and his mom's like, no, you did break his last one, so he has every right to not want you near him with this one. So he doesn't even get to watch him play Valorant anymore. So eat that, bro. Your plan kind of backfired. You don't get to watch the cool games no more. That's gonna do it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section down below what you would do if your little brother, like, broke your gaming system, dude, if they got away with it. If you did enjoy, liking also helps the video a lot. Subscribing, turning on notification is sick. And if you want to get yourself some G Fuel, the best energy drink for gamers, use code SCRUBBY at a checkout for a little bit of a discount. Also in the description, you can find story times on Spotify that you can listen to, and a link to the merch store, which you should check out. And yeah, on that note, guys, that's gonna do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Today I've got a story time for you guys about the time this girl decided to just call all gamers disgusting and go on a rant in class about how they're the most putrid, vile, disgusting people ever. And obviously, as a gamer, when I saw this story, I was like, ayo, gotta tell you guys that one. It was sent into my Instagram at Scrubby. It's a subscriber story, and without further ado, let's get into it. Be sure to press the like button, and let's go. So much money, you would think that it's illegal. I'm getting quiet now. Laying low when you're rich, so I'm piping down. Making out, stack the bread, cause you love the sound. Now, look, I'm not gonna be the person who's gonna get up in front of the YouTube and lie to you guys. Some gamers definitely are a little bit disgusting. Let's be realistic here. I don't think a majority of us are gross. I will defend that. But we all know that there definitely are some dudes out there that smell like BO and like sweat hot Cheeto cologne. There's definitely some of them out there. Like, the way society thinks about gamers, people think about it that way for a reason. They exist. I definitely think our generation gaming is cool, so it's not as like weird, but yeah, there's definitely some gamers out there that are a little bizarre. That being said, when somebody decides to call all gamers disgusting, I do take it a little bit personally, okay? I'm repulsive, I'm not disgusting. There is a difference, okay? I've never made anyone throw up, I've just made someone dry heave before. I can't be that gross. Jokes aside, I don't really understand how you can call a group of anybody gross, like all of them, oh, all tennis players look like a naked mole rat. Like, I don't know, it can't be all of them. A lot of people play tennis, bro. I mean, sure, sometimes gamers be on the grind, but like, how do you even decide all of a group is disgusting? You're just sitting there one day watching YouTube. I think every gamer looks exactly like Francis from Boogie298H channel and acts like him as well. That's what I imagine when I see a gamer. Because even if you're imagining that, like, that's just not how it is. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, that was just this girl's opinion, and the person who sent me in the story was in 10th grade at the time, and I guess he had a philosophy class with this girl. Now, I never had any philosophy classes in high school. All of my classes in high school did the opposite of making me think deeper. They made me try to figure out how to do as little work as possible. But anyways, when it comes to philosophy, genuinely what would happen, according to this guy, is most of the time you would come into class and there would be a topic and you guys would just kind of talk about it the whole time. It also helped that they had one of those teachers that was super easy to distract, so obviously the class would just kind of get him going off on a rant or change the topic, and it would keep the teacher distracted so they never actually had to do any work, and it's just more fun to talk about what you want to talk about than like philosophy, let's be honest here. And for some reason, the topic of dating preferences had come up this day, like, oh, what people like, what people don't like, which, I personally would never be exposing myself like that in the middle of class, but whatever, I guess this philosophy class just was talking about the philosophy of what makes a good girlfriend, And it wasn't trying to be offensive, it was really just people saying, like, oh, I like this in a person, I like this in a person, I like moms, it's a proven fact. In fact, if you don't press the like button, I'm gonna have to sleep with your mom. And all of these people were just kind of being honest about it, just what they liked. It wasn't offensive. It wasn't trying to be mean. However, the guy who sent in this story, the subscriber, raised his hand and said something about how he doesn't like girls who vape or whatever. Which, you know, is pretty fair. It's petty to me. Like, I don't really care if people vape. But hey, it's called a personal preference for a reason, dog. If you don't want to date somebody who vapes, that's totally your choice. Well, apparently, dude, it was very, very offensive because one girl kind of across the class goes like, what the heck? And then starts saying, like, vaping is a real addiction, and the fact that you would, like, not date someone based on an addiction that they have is disgusting. Yeah, you know what else is an addiction? Heroin. And I can tell you all now that I would never date a heroin addict, bro. Like, I don't really feel like it's that bad. Obviously, you know, nicotine and heroin are very different. But yes, you are allowed to not date someone because they're addicted to something. That's totally up to you, bro. So she starts going on and on about how people struggle with nicotine addiction, yada, 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 acting as if this guy just dropped the worst insult of all time. And he wasn't even being mean. It's not like out of nowhere he just screamed in class, "Oh, if you Jewel, you're ugly." Like, it was relevant to the topic of conversation. So he tries to apologize just because it was feeling awkward, dude, and she's having none of his apology whatsoever. She starts kind of going in on him, like, saying that clearly he just doesn't have the life experience if he thinks quitting vaping is that easy, and he's a moron. I don't know if this girl vaped. He didn't tell me in the story. I'm guessing she had to, because this is taking it weirdly personally for somebody just saying something, dude. Like, hear me out, you know? She has to have been weirdly addicted to vaping because, I don't know, for example, I really, really like to spend money on microtransactions in video games. If somebody was like, that's really stupid and a waste of money, I wouldn't get mad. I would be like, yep, you're right, because it's the truth. Just because you're vaping doesn't mean it's good for you, dog. Like, just because you are constantly drinking, Windex doesn't mean it suddenly is a Gatorade flavor. It's still bad for you. And she starts saying that this kid looks like a slimy grease ball. She starts insulting the subscriber. And at that point, the teacher gets involved and he's like, all right, guys, let's calm down a little bit. You know, the goal of this classroom isn't to make enemies. It's to have good conversations. And she starts getting into it with the teacher now, being like, you're gonna let him talk to me that way and not yell at him. Like, I can't believe this. This isn't a good conversation. And the teacher does the logical thing and just tells this girl, like, well, it's his personal preference. You know, what do you want me to do? Tell him he has to date people who vape? It's a student. We were talking about this. Like, yeah, you can say whatever he wants. And the girl at that point is like, well, I think everyone who plays video games is disgusting. Like, they're gross, they're fat, they're sweaty, they're just the most disgusting things ever. And so obviously the class is kind of like, okay, you know when somebody snaps and is just screaming in class and the entire class just goes dead silent, like you can hear a pin drop? That's what happens. And finally, she's just still ranting, like every now and then about how, like, and they're lazy, like just still going off about how apparently everyone who plays video games is the worst person ever. When somebody asks her, they're like, well, why do you think that, dude? You know what I mean? And so she started explaining that, like, her dad apparently, you know, like, plays video games and he's really lazy and da-da-da-da-da. And so the kid who sent in this story goes, well, it sounds like you hate your dad, not gamers, and that's a you problem. And obviously that's kind of funny, so the class started laughing. And look, while the joke might have been like a little mean, you know, like, oh, haha, you hate your dad, like, let's not forget that she is the one that has decided to start just insulting this dude, saying that gamers, like, basically are shells of human beings that aren't even humans, bro. We're just slightly smarter dogs. And so he just made that joke and everyone started laughing, dude. And obviously, this brings all of her anger to DEFCON 1. People like this hate one thing above all else, and it's looking dumb. And yeah, anytime you make a take that every gamer is a lazy, useless person just because your dad is, it's kind of funny. People are probably gonna make fun of that. And she started to get pissed because she was embarrassed. So she starts going on about how, like, specifically this guy and young people are lame because, you know, not only does her dad game too much, but her boyfriend never texts her back when she's playing Call of Duty. Homegirl apparently had some very personal beef with video games. She was saying that every gamer, like, doesn't shower you know. And apparently, dude, she said that gamers are so lazy that all of us have like an empty 2-liter bottle next to our setup that we pee into. She was just saying every stereotype known to man, and I honestly have to wonder if she had ever met someone who actually plays a video game before. Because, like, jokes aside, yes, I've made jokes before about cutting a hole in the bottom of my DX Racer, getting a 5-gallon bucket so I don't have to get up. I'm not actually gonna do that. Like, I'm a human being. You're not gonna catch me crapping in a bucket and peeing in a bucket so I can continue my gaming marathon. I might hold it till the end of the round. I'm not gonna deny that occasionally happens, but, like, I'm not a dog, dude. This lady was literally acting like we were just the dumbest thing ever. In fact, I think the best way I could describe her vibe of what she thought every gamer was like is, if any of you have seen that episode of South Park where it's like the World of Warcraft guy who's just an absolute nerd. He's grinding World of Warcraft. He gets so good that he literally can kill people in no PvP zones, and he's just this fat old man with like balding. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what she thought every single gamer ever was like. And that's not how we are. Trust me, I've played video games forever. I've met different types of people from all walks of life, dude. I've met dudes that are 6'7", jacked super athletes that like video games. And yeah, I've met a few Jabba the Hutts. I've met myself. I look like a stick bug. I literally think most of you could snap me in half like a toothpick. I love video games. We got some variation. Not all of us are the World of Warcraft guy who's never kissed a girl sitting there like,
my level 17 magic spell.
So she goes on her rant, does this all, and then looks at the guy who sent me in this story and is like, yeah, what do you think about that, you disgusting loser? And the way she said disgusting loser, she was very clearly like thinking that was going to be the death blow to this guy's feelings. He was just going to instantly burst into tears. Oh no, the big mean girl said that I'm disgusting. And she's like, you know, tears in her eyes, that mad. And the kid who sent in this story, the gamer, just looked at her and went, I bet you vape. Huh, that was his response to her just going off, calling him a loser, saying the thing he loved is super dumb. His response was, oh, I bet you vape. And when he says that, she just starts screaming, is that all you have to say? Are you kidding me? Even after everything I just said, you're still gonna focus on the vaping? And she starts running at him like pissed. And the teacher is getting between them, and she's like trying to get over the teacher to fight this guy, dude. I don't know if asking her if she vaped was just too disrespectful of a question or what, but she's literally like, so as I said, the girl's going ballistic and the dean is trying to hold them apart. Not the dean, the teacher, but the teacher says to call the dean because he's holding them apart. You know what I mean? Like, he needs some help, sorry. So one of the kids like calls and says to send down, I don't know if you guys had like the hall monitors that doubled as security that would come break up the fights and stuff. And once she hears that, you know, they're gonna get removed regardless, the girl is like, all right, well, now's my last chance. So she like drops down underneath the teacher's arms, runs through, runs up to the kid who had started this, the gamer kid, the one who sent this in, and just slaps him open palm. But from the guy, he's like, I didn't pass out, but I'm not gonna lie, this girl probably learned how to slap from Logan Paul. Do you guys remember last year when Logan Paul was just walking around knocking people out with open palm slaps? He got smacked pretty hard. After one smack though, the teacher come and broke him up again. The guy did manage like not to tear up or anything. He was like, I gotta stay strong, I gotta stay strong, I can't get slapped this hard in front of the class and start crying. The deans ended up getting there and separating them, bro. The kid got in no trouble because, you know, he didn't hit her back, obviously, because he didn't want to hit a girl. But still, dude, he got slapped in the face for, like, even saying that, you know, I bet you vape, which, all things considered, is a pretty weird thing to, like, go get in a fight for, dude. The girl obviously got suspended for slapping the kid, and after that came back to school and, like, never apologized. He said this girl straight up refused to look him in the eye after that. And everybody in the school was kind of like, oh, this girl's crazy. What's even funnier, though, is after that, dude, like, in school, the story got around about what would happen, and whenever the kid who sent this in would walk around, people would be like, gamers are disgusting, like, making fun of her. Not when she was around, but, like, to him. So he was like, all things considered, I did get slapped, but everybody thought it was a really funny story, so I guess it's kind of a W. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. It really does help out the video a ton. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment the word zombies down below, just like the gameplay. It does help out. Realistically, if y'all are offended, dude, if you think that all video games are losers and I was in the wrong on this story, I don't know what to tell you. This probably isn't the channel for you. But if you're anything like me and you just love seeing people who don't understand understand video games get kind of owned. I hope you enjoyed it. If y'all want more content, I do have a podcast called The Scuffed Cast. Link can be found in the description. Feel free to check that out if you want more content, along with a link to the intro song that can also be found down below. The merch store, the Teespring store, is also in the description down there. If you guys feel like checking it out, no pressure. The Instagram is just at Scrubby, Twitter at Scrubby_69 if y'all want to follow me on there. Obviously, I think I'm pretty hilarious, but yeah, on that note, I think that's everything I've got to plug. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Today we've got a subscriber story that was sent in about this dude who apparently got to reject this popular girl in front of the school after she tried to make him look bad. And honestly, a story of karma like that I figured would just fit pretty well here on the channel, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, let's get into it. Press the like button or you're going to get pregnant. And yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's go. So much money, you would think that it's illegal. I'm getting quiet now. Laying low when you're rich, so I'm vibing out. Making out, stack the bread, cause you love the sound. Alright, ladies and gents, so I think we're all aware of the fact that popular people think life is really easy sometimes, dude. Like, I don't know if it's because teachers, for some reason, are nicer to them, kids are nicer to them, I don't know, bro, but they tend to think things go their way. And, I guess ever since TikTok, YouTube, like, all the social media really became popular, a lot of the kids have kind of gotten, annoyed at the fact that just because they're popular at their school doesn't mean that they're instantly famous on the internet. And, while to most people that's like duh, being the most popular person at St. Ignace's middle school for the blind and deaf definitely isn't the same thing as like having 50 million followers on TikTok. Regardless, this guy who sent in this story goes to a high school where the popular kids are always trying to get famous on TikTok, and he ended up getting famous. He was not a very popular guy by any means. He definitely was not the type of person that like people would have expected to have a big social media following, but he just started posting some of him and his friends playing Minecraft on TikTok, them doing funny videos and whatnot, and it blew up, and he has around like 50,000 followers on TikTok now for his little gaming videos. And obviously that's sick, bro. Kudos to him. I ain't never gonna knock the hustle. To anyone out there who's afraid of making content, that's exactly why you should. Homie just started posting him and the boys, now he's got 50,000 followers. Don't ever be afraid of it. But eventually somebody from his school ended up like finding his gaming TikTok and spread it around, and word got out pretty quickly that someone at the school had followers on TikTok. And listen, I'm not saying this happens a lot, like there aren't a lot of people like this, but sadly it is true. I can tell you from experience, once you kind of start to get some internet clout, some people that you haven't talked to in like years, bro, start coming out of nowhere asking you to help them make a YouTube channel and stuff. I remember when people from like my hometown started to find out that I was a YouTuber, because I was at college when I really popped off. I had people like texting my mom asking if I could help their son become a YouTuber, bro, or like, you know, hey, remember back in second grade when we were besties and then I punched you in the face? We could just forget the face punch part. Like, you just help me with my channel? I'm telling you, dog, everybody and their mom suddenly like is besties with you. And that's not everyone, okay? That's probably a little bit hyperbolic, but it does happen. Most of my friends didn't change at all. I gotta give a shout out to the boys, Benji, Cyrus, Bumpkin, Dom, Zach. Like, none of my friends really changed, but I did have a couple people that I used to know switch up. And once this guy started to get TikTok followers, all of a sudden that like nerdy outcast position he had before starts to switch up. All the popular kids start to like follow him and ask him to hang out. He starts getting invited to their lunch tables and stuff, and he doesn't really like it, because in his head, he's like, okay, y'all literally didn't know I existed before I had TikTok clout, and now you guys like want to be my best friend, and they had nothing in common. It wasn't a situation where they were like, oh, I didn't really know that you were such a cool dude. These guys weren't like Minecraft players, they weren't gamers. The only reason they wanted to hang out with this dude is because of the TikTok followers. There was one popular girl, though, that this guy happened to know. There was this girl, we're gonna call her Amanda for the story time, and she was one of the most popular girls in the school, and I guess at some point she had like led the subscriber who sent this in on. She had, you know, called him cute, flirted with him a whole bunch, and then like just kind of ghosted him. And listen, everybody makes mistakes, you know what I'm saying, but to be fair, he does have every right to be mad at you if you ghosted him. Like, yeah, I don't really think it's the end of the world if, it doesn't work out and whatever. But at the same time, if you're gonna ghost someone, you kind of have to, like, stay out of their life after that. You can't come back in whenever you see they're getting some TikTok clout. Regardless, this Amanda girl that had led him on before, like, really led him on. He said in the story time he had a giant crush on this girl, and he was really, really sad when he found out that it was just, her getting some attention. Suddenly starts, like, sliding up into his DMs, bro. She had found out about the TikTok and is like, I always knew you were so funny. I thought you gaming was always so cute. And he knows that this is verifiably 100% cap, because after they stopped talking, her friends kind of told him, like, yeah, she thinks you're kind of weird because you're always playing video games and whatnot. Like, you don't play any sports at the school. All you do is worry about gaming, and she doesn't really like that. And now she's up in his DMs like, oh, I love when you play video games. I've always wanted a quirky gamer BF. And so this guy isn't stupid. He sees through it. And so he just kind of responds to her sliding back in the DMs, politely saying no. He doesn't call her, like, dumb. He doesn't insult her or anything. He really just goes, look, I'm sorry. We've tried it once before. I don't really think anything's changed. I don't know why it would work now. So we can be friends, but I really just, like, don't think of you like that anymore. And while, look, I think it's always awkward to have to reject somebody, dude, apparently that really, really hurt this girl's feelings, because instead of taking it well, she does the exact opposite. He sends her that text, and like 5 minutes later, he gets a call from his friend, and it's like his friend asking, oh my god, are you okay? Are you okay? And obviously, this kid is very confused. He's like, yeah, I'm fine. Nothing's going on. What are you talking about? So I guess almost as soon as he had rejected her, she had, like, gone to her group chat and started saying that, he was hitting on her and she had rejected him, and he started crying and whatnot. Like, she had spun this story that he had asked her out again and she had rejected him, and he was really upset. And obviously, that's just not what happened. He's like, bro, that's crazy, because I'm not even kidding. I just messaged her saying that I wasn't interested. So I don't know how this has now somehow become me crying in my bathroom. That's the thing, bro. Like, fine. You know what? You're a little embarrassed you got rejected. You don't have to tell anyone, dude. Like, it's not like you have to go to your friends and say that you rejected him. I don't really get the logic there. You were really just begging to hop in this homie's Minecraft server and put your beds together, and now you're like, oh my god, I rejected him and he was so pathetic. Wouldn't that make you kind of pathetic too, for, like, trying to get back with him? It's not like this guy was even gonna go around telling the entire school. Like, he was really polite about it, It's not like he responded with, haha, you're an idiot, can't wait to show everyone that you made a mistake by not liking me, and then, like, sent a picture of his poop in the toilet. No, he just politely said he wasn't interested. There really was no reason to go around telling people that, like, yeah, I rejected that moron with the Minecraft TikTok, what a loser. Anyways, this guy is like, alright, well, that's definitely not what happened, and then he screenshots the Instagram messages, but when he goes back, he screenshots them, and like 2 minutes later, he goes to check and she deleted them. So she had deleted the messages she sent, and I think she thought that, like, he didn't know yet, that she was gonna own him and be like, oh, haha, you don't have the receipts. Guess what? He already got them. So whatever, he goes to school the next day and he plans to, like, confront her at lunch because he figures that would just be the best place to do it. I don't know, bro. It makes sense. Maybe he didn't have a class with her. I don't know. I just work here, bro. I'm reading what was sent in. And lunch finally comes, and he goes up to her and he goes, hey, why are you telling people that you rejected me and I cried when that's definitely not what happened? And he's doing it in front of all of her friends. And usually when you call somebody out like that in front of their friends, they get a little bit embarrassed. They get, like, shy, scared a little bit. No, she kind of smiles and she's like, because that's what happened. Don't you remember when I rejected you and you cried like a little baby? This girl is literally trying to, like, say that happened. I don't think she had any idea that this dude has screenshots. So he tells her, he's like, yeah, remember yesterday when you slid into my DMs asking me to flirt with you and whatnot, and da-da-da-da-da, and I told you that I wasn't interested. And she's like, yeah, that never happened. What are you talking about? And he's like, yes, it did. And that's when the smirk comes up on this girl's face. And she says, well, then prove it. Where's the messages? I really think that this girl thought that this dude didn't have the screenshots, that she had deleted them off Instagram fast enough that he was about to pull up the messages and just look nuts. Unfortunately for this girl, though, homie had the receipts. So in front of all of her friends, keep in mind at this point, everybody around the table is looking pretty invested. And how could they not be? School lunches are pretty boring, dude. He pulls up the messages and hits her with the hardest "this you" of all time. He's like, okay, so what about this message where you say that, you know, you love my Minecraft videos, you think I'm adorable, and you miss when we used to talk. What's that? And she's like, obviously embarrassed, and everyone at the table is like, oh my god, no, you did. And listen, dude, I understand a lot of y'all are probably like, that's really petty. And it's not like he was just doing this for fun, dude. This wasn't a "this you" just like for giggles. She was going around telling people that she rejected him, that he was the loser who started crying, and then like when he confronted her, just said, no, I never texted you that. Like, didn't even apologize, you know, nothing. Like, okay, I feel like at that point, this "youing" them is pretty okay. Sometimes it gets a little toxic on TikTok, bro. Like, a girl will post a dancing video and someone will like "this you" it with a screenshot of her dad on Facebook, like saying that he wants to disown her, dude. It's crazy. Some y'all are savages. But this one, pretty appropriate, bro. Pretty fair. So obviously the table's kind of like, oh my god, because she's getting wrecked out here. And she'd been telling everybody all day about how she rejected the popular TikTok guy. So the table starts kind of being like, why would you tell us that you rejected him if you didn't? And she's like, I did. Those messages are fake. And he's like, okay, well then why did you only delete your side of them? And he pulls up her messages. Like, she just kept doubling down, bro. I don't know what's up with this lately. Like, listen, I'm not saying that people don't make mistakes, okay? But quadrupling down is just a bad move, bro, because now you just look silly. And then she tried to spin it on him and be like, you're leaking our messages. That's an invasion of privacy. She tried to go that route. Obviously, that didn't work too well either because everyone's like, bruh, come on. Like, come on. You just flirted with them. It's not the end of the world. Regardless, guys, I think it's pretty funny, though. The girl was pretty embarrassed. The guy still was like, I wasn't mad, to be honest. Like, I didn't hate her or anything. I just thought it was really funny that she kept doubling down over and over and over again. Which, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, is pretty entertaining when, like, you know that you know, but they don't know that you know, but you know that you know. I hope that made sense. I feel like it did. I feel like most of y'all probably picked up what I was talking about. Regardless, dog, it is what it is. I didn't have TikTok when I was in high school, but apparently people be switching up if you got the TikTok clout now. Let's get an F in the chat for this dude, bro. I hope everything works out. Keep it up, though, man. You got this. It seems like you got a good head on your shoulders if you're not just letting them walk all over you because you got the TikTok clout, you know? I feel like dating somebody for social media clout has got to be the most exhausting thing ever, bro. Like, having a significant other, a relationship you got to put effort into is a lot of work. I feel like there's just easier ways to get a lot of TikTok followers than, like, dating someone, you know? Maybe that's just my opinion.
Yes, I'm putting an increasingly large amount of time into saving this relationship that I don't actually like so I can get followers that don't actually care about me on the app that no one actually cares about.
Like, yeah, man, at least YouTube clout means something, I say biasly while looking at my YouTube plex. Jokes aside, y'all, just make sure that whenever you're dating anybody, guy, girl, cousin, left nut, right nut, dog, except I probably don't approve of most of that stuff, just be sure that they like you for you. You know what I'm saying? No cousins or dogs allowed. I think that's off limits. Guys or girl, those, do whatever floats your boat, and yeah. Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to press that like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of the video. It just helps it do better in the algorithm, bro. And if you wouldn't mind leaving a comment, very appreciated. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment the word Minecraft down below. I don't know, I'm just thinking of it. Helps me do better once again. If y'all want more content, I actually do have a podcast called The Scuffed Cast. Link will be down below. We talk about gaming stuff and whatnot, so if that interests you, feel free to check it out. And I will also put a link to the intro song down in the description if y'all feel like giving that a listen. The Spotify link's down there. And the last link I gotta plug in the description is the merch link, the Teespring store down below. We got the OG Sub Club merch and the Haha merch, both of which are very fire. Feel free to check them out. And last but certainly not least, follow me on Instagram at Scrubby, where we post the flicks on not a very often basis, but they do get posted sometimes, in the Twitter at Scrubby_69, so y'all can get the latest updates on what's poppin' and oppin'. Realistically, I want to take another second to say thank you to everyone that's subscribed. Y'all really mean the world to me. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a story time for y'all about these two Minecraft kids that ended up fighting in the middle of school. I wouldn't recommend doing this, but before we get into it, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. You're gonna fight over Minecraft in front of everybody, and let's get into it.
Nice racking her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million.
Alright, so what I've really got to preface is I know Minecraft has had a ridiculous comeback, but the person that sent this into me says that Minecraft was not very, very popular at their school at this time. Whereas, like, now it might be really normal for people to be playing together in servers and whatnot. It wasn't necessarily when this occurred. But there were two kids at this guy's school that were, like, insanely into Minecraft. You know, dressing up like creepers, talking about it nonstop, writing every essay, everything they could about this video game. And they played together quite often, like they were really good friends. But I guess at some point, you know, they were in a server together and one of them decided to grief it. And they knew about that because he was very upset. He was posting all over social media about how mad he was because they had been working on this server together and I guess they had gotten in a fight and one of them had blown up all the progress on the building they were making. And obviously that made him very upset. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say that like they had no right to be mad. If I had spent months and months working on something in Minecraft with somebody I thought was my friend and then they went behind my back and decided to blow it up, I would be mad. But the difference would be I would be mad on the internet, you know. I guess this guy, after posting about it online, decided that not only did he need to confront him on the internet, he also needed to confront him in person. So he decided that he was going to confront this guy about griefing his server at lunch. And listen, I'm just going to say here that, like, it's probably not a good idea to go around talking to people and loudly screaming about your Minecraft beef in the middle of school. I understand that it might feel very important to you, but at the same time, there's a good chance, A, nobody else cares, and B, you're going to get made fun of for the fact that you're, like, trying to fight someone over Minecraft server drama, you know? You guys don't understand. Me and him have to fight because in Minecraft, he cut down my trees. Like, everyone's gonna make fun of you for that, and I can't even blame him. What do you want the principal to do for that? Like, have an anti-bullying seminar when you're making it that easy to do it? Anyways, he decides to confront him at lunch, and he walks up to him, and he's like, "Why did you grief the server, dude? What's wrong with you? Are you kidding me? All the work that we put into that, and you just destroyed it. I can't believe that you would do that, man. I thought I could trust you more than that, but that's really messed up." And he's screaming this in the middle of lunch. So obviously everybody's looking and listening to this beef over this Minecraft server. And he's just tearing into him, dude. Like, he's exceptionally upset. And obviously anyone would be mad about their server being griefed, but screaming at him in the middle of lunch probably isn't the best idea. And it's at this point I should point out to you that, like, not only are they now in a screaming match over a Minecraft server, but the other one that he's yelling at is also in a creeper hoodie, like one of those creeper zip-up hoodies. I don't know if that's just the uniform of people that, like, really care about Minecraft servers, if that's a requirement, but of course that's what he'd be wearing. And anyways, after a little bit of yelling back and forth about who griefed the server and who sucks, the kid in the creeper hoodie stands up and they start having an argument face to face. And he's like, "You suck. You're the reason that I griefed the server is because I don't want to build anything with you." And at that point, the screaming match is really getting the attention, and people are starting to get up and walk over there. You know what I mean? To get a closer view. And you know your argument is good and dramatic when the entire lunchroom starts to come over and listen. The only problem is most people don't know what these guys are talking about, because while it originally was a confrontation about, like, you know, oh, you destroyed the server, you did this, it turns into them arguing about, like, PvP strategies and Bed Wars and Sky Wars, being like, well, you do this and Bed Wars, so you're an idiot, and da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. And they're literally arguing about Minecraft PvP, screaming at each other in the middle of the lunchroom at school. And listen, man, I understand you might be upset about video games. I just think it's probably not a good idea to get this upset about any video game, period, especially in the middle of the lunchroom. But apparently one of them just took things way too far while insulting someone's Minecraft PvP abilities. Apparently on the list of things you can insult like that's up there with things you should not talk about. Because the guy who insults the other one, right? I guess the one says something to the creeper kid about his PvP skills, and it sets off the creeper hoodie kid so bad that he headbutts the other guy, right? Like, full-on headbutts him. He did have the hoodie zipped up, so he had a little bit more padding, but I don't think anyone wins in a headbutt situation, right? Like, unless you're a karate master, I'm just assuming that slamming your head into someone else's head hurts both of you, And at that point, they start fighting. They're not fighting very well, probably because, they're not fighters originally, and also they're still dizzy from the fact that they just headbutted each other. Like I said, no one wins with a headbutt, dude, so chances are they're both not feeling too great. They both got a mild concussion, but at that point, everyone that's been watching them argue really swarms around them to make a super tight circle to watch this fight. That's just what happens if you get in a fight. Chances are there's going to be a circle forming around you that's going to try to get as close as they can to prevent the teachers from getting to you. And in this fight, dude, they're just fighting like almost like what you would expect people to fight like if they'd never been in a fight and just watched movies. They're just kind of like throwing haymakers at each other, and every now and then they're hitting each other and like being like, take that and take this and take that. But the other thing they're doing while they're fighting, literally fisticuffs in the middle of the lunchroom, is just screaming about Minecraft still. Even in the heat of the moment, man, they were still like, and you're the one who did this to the server. Well, you did that, and you did this. And listen, I think everybody's had the emotions get the better of them in a situation over something dumb before, but the fact that they were so mad about this Minecraft server that they could literally be beating each other up and still angry about it goes to show how much it meant to them, Like, I'm gonna be honest, if me and my friend were arguing about Call of Duty and somehow it turned into a fight, which just wouldn't happen, by the time I get punched in the face, I'm probably not thinking about Call of Duty anymore. I'm thinking about the fight. But no, even while punching each other, they're like, and you do this wrong in Minecraft PvP. And no matter how good the circle around you when your fight is going is, eventually teachers are gonna break in. And at that point, as they're like fighting each other, screaming about Minecraft, teachers finally get into the circle and like start to get near them to break each other up, right? And these kids are still going to town as the teachers get there. They really are not letting up. It's almost like they don't even care that the teachers are there at that point. They're like, whatever. If they want to watch us throw hands, then that's on them. This is the next UFC fight. We should have charged pay-per-view. And I'm going to be honest, instead of Jake Paul fighting someone, I would rather watch an undercard where it's just a bunch of kids super addicted to Minecraft fighting. I think that'd be way more entertaining. But regardless, the teachers get in and finally break them up. The crowd dissipates a little bit. But obviously, everyone's still talking about the Minecraft fight that just went down, because how could you not be talking about that and making fun of it at this point? Anyways, even as the teacher's pulling them apart, like, they're still yelling stuff about the server, like still going after each other verbally for the Minecraft thing. And listen, man, once again, I feel like once you've literally fought each other, like, the anger about the server should dissipate. You shouldn't be as mad. Obviously, it's why you started fighting in the first place, but if even when the teachers are separating you, you're like, you shouldn't have done that on this Minecraft day, then you're probably a little bit too addicted to Minecraft. For your own good, you might want to take a break. Like, when you start throwing away friendships and attacking people over what they did to you in the video game, I think that's the sign that it's time to take a break in the video game. And as I said, most of the school is crowded around watching them, so they're yelling all this stuff about servers and Minecraft, and while some people definitely know what they're talking about, a majority of people have no clue what they're talking about whatsoever, literally at all. And that makes it even worse, because now most of the people that are watching this are hearing them scream all these words and they don't know what's going on, so they start trying to come up with what's happening, and like, this is a smaller school, and the subscriber that sent this into me knows Minecraft, right? But because they were yelling all these words and talking about the nether and killing stuff and all these things, people started to say that they had gotten possessed and that's why they were fighting each other. Yeah, you know how it is, dude. They got possessed in the middle of lunch, started throwing fisticuffs to try to, show people the way of what happens if you're possessed by demons. I will say, if you don't know what they're talking about, though, and people start screaming about zombie pigmen in the world full of lava, while they're also fighting each other for no discernible reason at all, like they're headbutting each other, I mean, maybe you just go with, like, demons possessed them. I guess there really is no logical explanation, so you might as well go with an illogical explanation. I really do just gotta say, though, man, like, I love video games, don't get me wrong. I get very, very passionate about it. I love winning a Valorant game. I love playing it. That being said, I feel like it gets to a point where you've got to remember it's a video game. Because at the end of the day, it is not your real life, dude. I could just never imagine getting this mad at a video game. Broken controllers or whatever, but staying so mad I go to school the next day and fight the person I was playing against. And out of every game you're gonna literally physically fight someone over, out of every single one that you could be like, I'm literally going to punch someone in the face over this, the worst option is Minecraft. Out of every game that you would have to explain to somebody, oh, we're fighting because of a disagreement we had online. It's not like over a game you bet money on or, a competitive game. It's over Minecraft. I hope they had to explain that to their parents, dude. Hey, mom, listen, okay? Like, I understand you might be mad that I'm suspended for school from school for a week now. I said that backwards. But what you have to understand is I was standing up for my honor on the Minecraft server, and that's what really matters, is that everyone in the Minecraft server is still gonna respect me because I fought for my honor. I just feel like your parents might not be that understanding. Hey, maybe not. Maybe their dad is the admin on the server, and that's why the beef got so intense. But regardless, even after they got back from their suspension, which did take a little bit, everybody thought that they would eventually get back to being friends because they were the only two people that addicted to Minecraft. But like to this day, they still refuse to talk to each other. In fact, they refuse to talk to each other to the point where it's detrimental to themselves. Like even before they fought, they had this class where they had been put on a group project together. Obviously, they fight, they don't like each other, but they just refuse to talk at all to the point where, the teacher wasn't going to change their group for the project, which wasn't the best. But they ended up just taking the 0% on the project instead. Like, instead of just kind of getting over it and dealing with each other long enough to save their grade, they literally took the F in the class. And to me, that's dedication. You ever hate someone for a video game so much that you're willing to not only in real life attack them, but on top of that, you're gonna fail your class for it? That just seems like something that, is a real gamer move. All jokes aside, I feel like it's just not really worth the suffering, dude. Like, your parents got mad, you probably got your stuff taken away. You get suspended. Now on top of that, you're just going to put your academic future in jeopardy so that way they don't have to listen to your voice. If anything, I feel like this is what you do. You do the entire group project, turn it in, and then tell the teacher that the other guy did nothing so you get the credit. You know what I mean? I feel like if you're mad enough at somebody over Minecraft to take it this far, like this had to have been just the worst server grief of all time. And what's insane is you think they would have been embarrassed not wanting to talk about it all the time with everybody else at school, but they really love to bring it up every chance they get, how that guy had been a backstabber and, just betrayed them and the server all at one time. And if the server could stand up for itself, it would have, and told the other one that he was evil. But both of them are saying this about each other, right? Like saying how evil the other one is for not being nice in the Minecraft server. And listen, once again, I'm sure the drama is very real to you, but you shouldn't be going around talking to strangers about your Minecraft server drama like, lives are literally on the line here. They were treating it like it was an actual war going on. Like, oh, he did this and this person died because of that, like in Minecraft. To strangers that don't care or play the game. Explaining a game to someone that doesn't play it is already bad enough, but you can just assume that if you're explaining Minecraft drama and why you guys disagree on your Minecraft server to strangers that don't play it, just assume they don't care, dude. I don't know why you would want to go around flexing the fact that you're so passionate about the block game that you had to literally attack them. But hey, to each their own. I guess it was a good story time, so I don't really care what they're doing. If you enjoyed the video, though, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought, and of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on notifications. If you really want to help me out, you can check out the intro song linked down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, or you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. You get G Fuel energy, I get some help, and you get a discount. Everyone's a winner. And last but certainly not least, I did put some of my story times on Spotify. That link will be at the top of the description, but feel free to check that out. And yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see each and every single one of you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a story for y'all about a cringe individual that I was in contact with in high school. Arguably one of the cringiest people to ever exist. I would say they're up there. It was this kid who was crazy addicted to Minecraft, also never showered, and was also really bossy. Not a good combination. Nothing wrong with being addicted to the Minecraft, right? I get it, but you can't also suck and be bossy. Like, that's just a wombo combo that's not fantastic. Regardless, I figured it would be a pretty good video that you guys are going to enjoy, so that's what we're going to be doing today. So without further ado, press the like button, or no joke, no scam, you're going to get hacked by this kid. And without further ado, let's get into it. Wow, wow.
I'm getting quiet now. Laying low when you reach zone right now. Making out, stack the bread.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think school is a pretty important thing to go to because, it kind of just prepares you for the fact that there's some people in the world that you just gotta just learn how to deal with, you know? They're not the most exciting people to deal with. In fact, I would say they're quite the opposite, but it is good training to, deal with people that suck. And this story's about somebody that really sucked. This took place in my junior year. I came to class one day, sat next to these people that I didn't really know too well. And one of the guys at the table was someone that I had seen around school plenty of times before, just kind of walking around. I had never really had a chat with him or anything. His name's going to be, we're going to name him Sam for the purpose of this story, okay? Because I have a lot of friends named Sam, and I don't want people to figure out who this is. And, Sam, as I said, I'd seen him around before, but I'd never really gotten close to him. And now that I was sitting at this table with him, one of the first things that I noticed is that he had a very particular stench to him. And when I say stench, I don't mean like cologne, I don't mean like deodorant. I mean this dude straight up smelt like the piracy. And not the internet kind. The 1800s pirates that had scurvy, dude. Their toenails would be falling off. They never showered. Imagine how that would smell. And then imagine walking into a classroom and sitting near someone that smelled like that. I literally could not believe that somebody, could smell this bad and not be aware of it, dude. There's no way he wasn't able to smell himself. And I look at the other people at the table and I just start laughing. This is not something that I'm necessarily proud of, but it just is something that I do. When I'm uncomfortable or in a situation that I just think is weird or out there, I just start laughing. There's nothing I can do to control it. It's literally a little tick. I remember one time, man, I came home from school. My dad looked really sad on the couch. I'm laughing. It's not funny thinking of this story. And he was like, Ryan, your grandpa's in the hospital. And I was crying and laughing at the same time because I was just so uncomfortable with the information. So I'm very uncomfortable to be sitting next to this guy. I don't want to be rude and tell him he stinks, but I'm just giggling because that's just what I do when I'm in an uncomfortable spot. And so he looks at me and he's like, what are you laughing at? And I'm just kind of oh, nothing. And he's like, no, what's so funny? If you think it's so funny, share it with the table. And I really don't know what to say because I don't want to insult him. I don't want to be rude, but I'm laughing at how he smells. So I just say, I thought of a really funny joke that my friend told me earlier, and it just keeps replaying in my head. I'm sorry. And he kind of rolls his eyes at me. And this is the first interaction I've had with this dude other than smelling him. And he's like, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. Will you do me a favor and just try to keep it down? I'm trying to focus. Which, all right, fair enough. I guess I was giggling too much, but at the same time, dude, come on. Class hadn't even started yet. I was just giggling, not to mention I'm giggling at your stench. Okay, let's just relax. I could tell he was going to be a little bit of a bossy know-it-all, and so sure enough, teacher comes in, you're sitting together, blah, 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 here's the project, da-da-da-da-da, and it ends up being something that we have to do as a little table, the little group of people. And when the paper gets passed out, there was two girls, me and this kid at this table. One of the girls grabs it and reads the instructions and says, we have to do XXXX, the 3 steps. So whatever, I'm like, all right, I start getting ready to do the 3 steps, but for whatever reason, this Sam kid is like, I'm gonna double check the instructions because I just don't necessarily believe that you guys are able to comprehend them that quickly. Which, damn, bro, that's pretty rude. We are reading the instructions on a worksheet in class. We're not reading the Declaration of Independence. I'm pretty sure we can read it. Anyways, that was the attitude this guy had. Just I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, all this stuff. And so we finish our project pretty quickly. Believe it or not, we were right about the steps. And so we get done and we're just kind of sitting there talking, and because nobody at the table really knew each other, we just kind of started talking about what we liked, what were our hobbies. And this kid starts talking about how most people play video games, but they're not very highbrow games. They're not games that take a lot of skill or effort or energy or strategy to them, and he just feels like people who play games like that aren't that smart, which is why he plays Minecraft. And when he says that, I honestly can't believe my ears, bro. Listen, I understand that Call of Duty's a pretty mindless game. Most popular games you could call quote-unquote mindless. I think it still takes a lot of skill to get good at it, but, whatever. I can understand where you're coming from. But how are you going to be talking crap about how other games are stupid and, there's no skill involved, and you're playing the game where you can literally just punch a tree to, get everything you need? This game does not take a lot of skill. I literally play it all the time as gameplay on this channel. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I like Minecraft. But it's weird to be calling everybody stupid and claiming that you're a super strategic, smart genius because you play the block game, bro. So, the first day I've known him, I know that he thinks he's better than me, he thinks the video games I play are stupid, and he smells bad. That's what I know, dude. You would think somebody that is thinking so deeply in strategy that they're a professional Minecraft player would also realize that showering might, like, benefit the situation, but no. He's just a genius in strategy, not showering. So whatever, I leave that day, and I just can't really believe that, like, that person exists. I just think it's kind of funny. But when I go back the next day, I can't even believe my eyes even more. So he had told me that they really liked Minecraft. You know, I believed him. It's the smartest game to ever exist. So much strategy, all that stuff. But one thing that I didn't expect was for the kid to come to school the next day in a creeper hoodie. Keep in mind, we're like juniors in high school, so whatever, nothing wrong with that. Wear your creeper hoodie. But the strangest thing is this man is sitting in class with the hood all the way zipped up. Like, you know the creeper hoodies that you could become the creeper? He is just sitting there, like, in the creeper hoodie, zipped up all the way. You can't see his face. And this creeper hoodie is not in good shape. This was not a new hoodie. This thing was covered in, I don't know what the stains were. I don't want to know what the stains were, but this thing basically looked like a Jackson Pollock painting. Like, this thing was just covered in stains, and I could smell him probably about the same time I could see him. Like, as I walked in and see the creeper, I just kind of get this waft of just BO and Manwich and Sloppy Joe and 3 hot dogs that have been boiled for too long. It was just overwhelming. And I'm kind of like, oh, hey, man, nice hoodie. Nothing wrong with wearing the hoodie, like I said. Just kind of weird to have it full zipped up in the middle of class. And instead of, like, replying with words, he just looks at me and goes, like, makes a creeper noise, bro. Makes a creeper noise. And so I'm like, oh, all right, this is kind of bizarre. And I was the first other person at the table, so the other ones come in. They kind of see the same thing. And when they say hi to him, he also hisses at them in creeper. And at this point, I'm really hoping that, like, it's not going to be this situation, but I'm starting to think that he might be role-playing as a creeper, and we're just going to have to deal with this all day. So sure enough, the teacher comes in, she starts taking roll, it gets to his name, he does a creeper noise in response, she thinks it's weird, but whatever, rolls on. We get another little worksheet to do as a table. This teacher, you know, wasn't exactly, like, the best teacher, so this was our normal routine worksheets together. And we're trying to ask this guy questions, trying to figure stuff out as a group, and every time we're asking him anything, he's only replying in creeper sounds. He's not saying words, he's not answering anything, he's not writing stuff down. Like, fine, you want to talk in creeper, that's cool. Then can you, like, write your answers down on the worksheet, you know, help us out a little bit? No, this man was dedicated to role-playing as a creeper. And I know what a creeper is. I play Minecraft. I played Minecraft then. Like, I know what a creeper is. But the other girls at our table just think this guy is wearing a weird hoodie and hissing at them. Like, they don't really know what's going on. So after about 2 minutes of him hissing and being, like, absolutely useless on this worksheet, one of the girls goes, okay, are you gonna help us, or should I just go tell the teacher that you're gonna be a freak today? You know what I mean? Which is fair. Like, all right, this is annoying. Stop hissing at me. And when that happens, he finally decides to talk words, and he goes, I'm not being a freak, I'm a creeper. You would know that if you played Minecraft, but you're probably too dumb to understand it anyways. Yeah, bro, this girl is too dumb to understand Minecraft. It's just not a very hard game to understand. It's just not. And even then, what does understanding the video game Minecraft of, like, collect resources, stay alive, have to do with you pretending to be an animal from Minecraft to the point where you're not talking? I get Minecraft, and I still don't really know what you're going for, bro. Why would you want to pretend to be a creeper? The name itself should, like, let you know that that's a no-go. You shouldn't want to be a creeper, bro. Anyways, the girl predictably doesn't really know what he's talking about, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go tell the teacher. So she just gets up, goes, talks to the teacher. The teacher comes over and is like, all right, what seems to be the problem? You know that you can't be talking in made-up languages during class, like, you have to work as a team. And now Minecraft Kid is still zipped up in the creeper costume, by the way. He still hasn't unzipped it. And he starts arguing with the teacher about how, you know, it's his constitutional right to dress this way, and the freedom of speech protects talking like a creeper. And the teacher, you know, is kind of like, all right, great, we're going to be in one of these discussions. So she just shuts it down quick, and she goes, you're right, it does protect your right to wear the creeper costume and hiss, but it doesn't protect your grade, so I'm gonna give you a 0 unless you take off the hoodie and start working with them. And at that point, the kid in the creeper costume finally succumbs. He, like, unzips his hoodie. Sam reveals himself from inside the creeper mask. And before the teacher leaves, bro, I don't know if she had just had enough with this patience for the month or the year or like what the deal was. And then she also says, also, do not wear that hoodie in my class again. It smells disgusting. Which, hey, man, I wasn't going to complain about someone finally telling this dude that he needed to wash the clothes or wash himself. One or the other. You gotta be washing something, preferably both. In an ideal world, you're washing everything. But you can't be wearing a hoodie that's stiff enough to walk on its own and then not showering. Because that wombo combo is going to overwhelm anyone, dude. Prison guards would be trying to throw up if they smelt this thing. Obviously, that kind of embarrassed him, and he ends up zipping back up his hoodie from embarrassment. But whatever, I think the point got across because he did the rest of the assignment in English, right? So, anyways, all is all, blah, 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 blah. We finish the school day. It's awkward. We come back the next day to him in the same creeper hoodie, right, which he wasn't supposed to wear, zipped up. I say hi. This time, he hisses at me again. And, you know, I wasn't going to go snitch. I'm just not going to go tell the teacher. I don't care. But when the girls came in, they did, because they were not dealing with it again. I don't blame them. Their grade, they cared a lot about their grades. I, like, barely graduated. Whatever. It happens. They were not going to deal with this and have their grade go down. So sure enough, the teacher comes over. She's like, I told you not to wear this hoodie. What is wrong with you? Go to the dean's office. Da-da-da-da-da. You're getting dress coded. You're so disrespectful in my class. And instead of this time, you know, using English to communicate with the teacher, Sam decided that since he was already getting in trouble, he's already going to the office, he might as well just commit to the whole creeper act. So he just kept hissing. He started hissing at the teacher. And when he started hissing at the teacher, she started thinking that it was a threat. She started being like, are you threatening me right now? Are you threatening to attack me? Like, that's what a cat does before it attacks someone. And at that point, the dean people like came to get the kid from the class because I guess it was going to be an issue. And she starts telling them that like he was just threatening to attack her and stuff. And now he's talking in English, trying to clear up that the hissing doesn't mean that he was going to attack her. The only problem was, dude, and this is so funny. He's obsessed with Minecraft, right? His explanation instead is that creepers hiss before they blow up. So he was just warning her to back up before he explodes, which does not exactly calm down the people that were coming to remove you from the classroom. So sure enough, he gets taken out of there real quick with his backpack, everything. They take him to the deans. They're searching him. The teacher, you know, they're like, are you okay? But yeah, after that, I think what ended up going on is he got moved into a different class for sure. I think the teacher was like, I don't feel safe teaching him, you know, he threatened to blow up in my class. He was talking about a creeper, but you guys get the point. And so I didn't see him anymore in class. I saw him around school sometimes, never again in the creeper hoodie though. But yeah, he got moved out of that class after that. But regardless, that's the story time of the Minecraft kid that never showered that I had to deal with. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. If you really want to support the channel, you can check out the intro song, link down below. You can also use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. Gets you a discount on G Fuel, helps me out. And of course, if you want more content, my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, can be found down there too. Last but certainly not least, if you want some merch, look at your screen now and you'll see the coolest merch to ever exist in the history of the planet, which can also be yours by visiting the description. And yeah, on that note, guys, that'll do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.